What? What up, what up, A2HH Live? We right here on a Wednesday. Mike D on this side, Cooper's on the other side. What's going on with you, brother?
Tight like hallways, smoked out
Hootie
always.
hoo. Man, it's been a lot going
Classic
on.
snippet,
Everybody
though.
tired, but we here, man. It's showtime, baby. This is always the greatest part where we're actually, sitting here ready to do a show. We got a few things to talk about, man. We got some new music coming. Future and Metro are finally dropping that album Friday. That's actually happening. I've been kind of on pause
Um,
with that because I wanted to see when it was going to happen, other than hyping it up and all of that stuff. And Dr. Dre says that Eminem has an album coming this year. I believe that. Now, that's one thing I do, but like if Dre says somebody else's album's coming, I believe that.
a couple things. First of all, click like and subscribe to the channel and to the tribe. We got a new weekly newsletter that just started going out that everybody
Yes.
needs to get plugged into. Yesterday actually made 4 years, Mike, of us doing this show.
Really? Oh, shit. Well, this should be a special episode then. We've been running around so
Yeah,
much that I forgot the actual date, but yeah, you're right.
yeah.
4 years. Yeah, we were doing the whole IG live thing. Just trying to get our visuals and all that stuff right, get the format right. We're just talking.
hmm
For the people who are on right now who probably weren't on in the beginning, we would just get on, talk about an album. Coop did an album review for Jay Electronica's album, and I was online. We're picking your brain about the review that you wrote, and we kind of just developed that into a whole music review show altogether.
Yeah, it's funny. When this show started, we were on Facebook Live and like Instagram Live. Remember, Instagram Live would
Yep.
just cut us off at
Yep.
59
After
minutes,
an
like in the middle
hour.
of the minute.
Yep.
Yeah, after the hour, it's like, nope, you're done. Should have got it in. And so it's evolved into this. It's been a
Yes.
blessing. It's been a fun ride. I love hip hop. I love hip hop journalism. I love talking all things hip hop. Love hip hop culture. And so yeah, this has been a special 4 years. I'm glad
Yeah.
to have been a part of it.
Yeah. Same here, man. And the people too, like, just the outpouring love that the people have had over these past 4 years and just continuously growing and, growing even more. This has become a special staple, I think, in this era of hip hop, whether, you and I know it or not. Like our reach is really, really broad.
I mean, I mean, the people are the best part. Truthfully, Mike. I
For
mean,
real.
I know, like, I don't want to sound like a politician, but I really do it for the people.
Yeah.
Um, and it's kind of funny, like, even though we don't get a lot of the acknowledgement that we deserve, I feel like everybody knows who we are, Mike. Like, it's funny. I just flash back because I know you're such a Q-Tip fan. I still remember when Q-Tip slid in our comments and was like, I don't agree with y'all's takes, but I respect y'all's takes. And I was like, damn, I was like, that's Q-Tip.
I
Like,
missed that. When did that happen?
Mark, that happened like a year and a half
ah.
ago.
Ah.
Q-Tip slid in the comments. Yeah.
Yeah.
Q-Tip was like I was watching it when it said Q-Tip on it. I was like, Q-Tip?
That's
He's like,
love,
yeah,
man.
I mean, yeah, that's the guy. I mean, he produced the Low End Theory and Midnight Marauders, Mike.
Exactly, man. And these people are legends. And we're having these conversations that, like I told you when we first, but before we even started, it was like, look, these phone conversations that we have, we need to have them in front of the people. And these conversations that you and I have, the fact that they have grown legs to the point where we have the legends that we're even speaking about in our conversations, and also having many of our followers spawn off podcasts of their own with a similar format. And I love, us being an inspiration as well. I mean, it's just an amazing thing that it's been able to
Yeah.
take form in that way.
Like, Mike, I don't think people understand. Like, when people like Chris the Glove are watching you, you have made it. Chris the Glove has known Dr. Dre since Jerry curls were in style, Mike.
Yeah. These people are legends, man.
These people are iconic. They're legends, and they know who we are. And some of them are making their own legends, making their own legendary case right now, like a Hit Boy.
Yeah.
Shout out to Hit. Shout out to Hit too. His son just turned, I think, 4 the other day. I
Oh,
just seen
dope.
it on IG.
Shout out
Yeah,
to them, man.
blessings
Happy
to life.
birthday to his son, for real. I mean, and to be
Yeah.
along for this ride with artists like a Jay
Mhm.
Skis, Hit Boy, the Nas run that has happened over the past 4 years as well. Love the Genius, countless others. Mickey Fax, what he's doing, like to be along for this historic ride, and probably 5, 10 years from now, people are gonna look back at some of these episodes to be like, that's history. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
We're making
like
history in the moment.
we are. Like Mike, I've met Nas like on 3 separate occasions, but I know the next time I see him will be the first time that he'll will have remember who I am off of contact. You
Right,
know what
right.
I'm saying? Like I done ran into fam before. Well, not ran into, but I done been around fam before. So
Now
it's like,
I know we're critical with some artists or whatnot, but again, I think that our whole intent is to make hip hop better from our standpoint. Like we're fans. Like one of the reasons why I started making music back in the day is because I wanted to make the music that I wanted to hear, right? And so from this side of the spectrum, we do critique hard sometimes, but that's because we know that we can, get better. That we could get better music, and if our conversations will turn people into or turn artists into better artists, or where the public gets better music, or they can actually get a gauge on what the people are saying about what's going on, I'm with it. And not to even, say that we criticize Nas or anything like that, but when you were interviewing Hit Boy, and he was saying that our conversations inspired him to make what he was making for Nas that second time around and third time around, I'm like, we did our job.
yeah, no, Mike, because our critiques were astute enough that we inserted ourselves into people's consciousness and therefore conversations.
Right.
And that is an important part of the culture. It's like the things that people say stay a part of your consciousness. Like part of the way that I even critique the way I do, Mike, is a conversation I had with Mallah. You remember Mallah? Like I
Mhm.
had a conversation with Mallah when I was probably about 21, 22 years old, and she was like, if you know what the standard is, why would you deviate from the standard, Coop? She was
Yeah.
like, if you know Rakim is the standard, if you know Scarface is the standard, if you know Kane and Rock and G Rap and Nas and Big and Redman are the standard, she's like, why would you deviate from that? She was like, why would you make the culture suffer by accepting anything less than what's stellar? And so, even my frame of mind of why I critique the way that I do, well, that comes from my friend who is nice as hell on the mic in her own right, like reminding me as a young man, it's like, nah, you know what the levels is.
Yeah. And why settle for
Yeah,
anything less than that? Dot with the super chat says, Sean dropping album of the year. Y'all hear that new track? Oh, Big Sean got some heat coming. He's one of the first people we reviewed too. Andrew Williams with the
correct.
super chat says, "Happy fourth anniversary, to you legends. Y'all do the best. Happy anniversary to the legends. Y'all the best. We appreciate that, Andrew Williams. Yeah, I mean, you know what, Coop? We actually are legends, man. And I'm not saying that on some braggadocious type of stuff. It's just, honest. We pioneered something, and we're keeping it going. And I'm looking forward to seeing what these next levels look like too. What I
The,
was gonna, oh
the,
yeah, go ahead.
the experience has been so humbling for me, it's hard for me to reconcile with that.
Yeah. I was gonna say, man, to your point about the standards, right? And click the like button, man. We get more people in the room and whatnot. And then we got like a few people in here. We need more people in here because we're about to really talk some stuff. Those standards on the mic, yeah, I carried that over into music, and I had a difficult time during the time period that we were trying to make it as artists because I felt like the overall standards were lower and they were telling people to adapt. Now, granted, we came up listening to 90s hip hop, which is a lot more lyrical than the early 2000s, right? Um, and the stuff with the early 2000s was more so about getting on the radio, kind of dumbing it down, for lack of a better term, and being able to uphold those standards that you know are there while still trying to make something commercially viable. That was a challenge. And I think that there's a challenge of that in the podcast space too, because it's a lot easier to go out there and just say some salacious stuff with no substance just to get clicks and likes. And I think that we did it the hard way. We're sitting here talking music. We're not talking gossip. We may deviate from time to time and laugh and joke, but the basis of the show is music conversations.
Yeah, I think we've done an excellent job about trying to keep it about the music first and foremost. I mean, there are obviously things and pieces and parts of the culture that can't be ignored,
Right.
but for the most part, we've kept it about the music making process, the album making process, the things that make a great song, the things that make a great verse, the things that make a great album, and the relevancy of it in the hip hop culture and landscape. And I'm proud of that because that makes me feel like a real journalist and not
Yeah.
just some sort of fallacious podcast co-host. And that's not to disparage anybody else, but it's just like there are a lot of people with reps out here. It's like, well, I mean, Mike, and I've just said it before. It's like, oh, well, them dudes ain't been on their rap shit in a long time, really, if you really want to know the truth,
I mean,
you
what
know?
people call hip hop media today, those quote unquote hip hop media outlets or hip hop shows, they don't even cover hip hop. I mean, I'll just say it, like, you guys know that you're not going to go to the Breakfast Club for your hip hop fix or hip hop takes or news or whatever, but they're considered to be hip hop media. And I think that the angle that we took was to say, you know what, we're going to actually talk about the music, and it's a shame that that was a wide open lane at the time and somewhat still is. Like, imagine a hip hop podcast or a hip hop show actually talking about hip hop music. How crazy is that, right?
Right. Maybe it's just me. I don't like talking about other dudes, Mike. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't excite me talking about another grown ass man and like what's going on in their personal lives. I think some
Yeah.
people are so large. Some people are so large, Mike, that it does kind of transcend into that, and we have to touch on it, like a Kanye,
Hmm.
a Puff, But for the most part, we've stayed above the fray, and it's one of the things that I'm more proud of.
For
So,
sure. It's a whole lot to get to today. But Dr. Dre, congratulations to him. He just got his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, which is wild because I don't think Eminem has one, but I know 50 and Snoop have one, and I just knew Dr. Dre already had one. You know what I mean? But he has one now. Congratulations to him, well deserved. He is hip hop's greatest producer. I mean, I saw that when you and I did the station head, and I had Kanye at number one. Kanye was no match for Dr. Dre track for track, and you even held back on your Dr. Dre selections. He's hip hop's greatest producer. He is, by many people's definition, the West Coast sound. Um, he's one of those guys that if he wakes up tomorrow and says, you know what, I'm bringing the whole gang back, everybody's going to work. There's not a lot of people like that in the culture. I've said Andre 3000's a similar type figure. I know you said you disagree with that because you don't think that people will jump up. You don't think the Dungeon family will jump up if he's ready to record. But when he did his flute concert, everyone showed up. So I do feel like Dre is kind of Andre. That is one of those people too. But Dr. Dre, he can ignite a whole coast if he wants to. If he
see,
gets,
this is what I mean.
go ahead.
So how about this? I don't necessarily disagree with your sentiment. It's just that there's levels to this, and here's what I mean. let's take, let's say, Nas and Jay and Snoop are in separate studios working on their respective projects.
Mm-hmm.
If Dr. Dre were to call those three giants and tell them, hey, I need you to catch this flight to Cali and come bless this track for me, Mike,
Yeah.
they would stop, get on the plane, and go do that.
Is Dr.
He's
Dre the
got it
most
like
powerful
that,
person in hip hop?
arguably. Like, and Andre 3000 doesn't have it like that.
No, no,
Even
no.
if he has it like that within the realm of his own camp, which is plausible, he ain't got it like that.
Okay, I
Mm-mm.
got you, and I think that's fair. I can't think of anyone more powerful than Dr. Dre. I think he's definitely our Quincy Jones. I think he is. I think he's the big. He's the big joker in hip hop. You know what I'm saying? If
Yeah,
we're sitting here
yeah,
with the deck, and who's higher than Dr. Dre and why?
right. That's what I mean, Mike. His beat his catalog of beats is Trump tight, Mike. It's the big joker. It's the little joker. If you're playing Jailhouse Spades, it's the Ace of Spades right after that. If you're
Yeah,
playing Atlanta Spades, it's the Deuce of Diamond and the Deuce of Spades.
yeah.
You know, like he holds all the trump cards, Mike. He has stuff like Mike. He has stuff like "You Better Recognize" by Sam Snead. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, he's been around since the early '80s. I think technically he's probably the first rapper from the West Coast to sign a major record deal, right? A
When you
world
say
class record.
major record, okay, okay,
Yeah, I mean he goes back.
possible,
So his legacy and all
possible.
of those things, it's well deserved. He's been around the
He definitely.
game, and when people say RZA or Premier or whatever, he's damn near 10 years before them.
Yeah,
So I think he's the most powerful individual in hip hop. I think he's probably the maybe not the biggest, but I mean the fact that he's given the world Snoop Dogg, Eminem, and by proxy 50 Cent and Kendrick Lamar to a certain degree. I think that kind of gives him, yeah. I mean, and even when we talk about the association with Tupac, the game, he's given everybody the biggest moments. Um,
except Ice Cube, but he's
yeah,
responsible for
he's
Ice Cube
different.
too.
He's different. Yeah. But
Yeah,
again, that's
but he
kudos
is.
to Cube.
But this is what I'm saying though. Like even for somebody like Ice Cube, and Ice Cube would tell you this. Well, it wasn't that just he wanted to rap, Mike. Said he wanted to rap over Dr. Dre's beats. He's
For
told
sure.
stories about how it happened with the link up and everything and having to go through his man to get the Dre. Like even for somebody like Ice Cube was trying to get the Dre, not Dre trying to get the Ice Cube.
True.
Cause
I mean, because
because
again,
great
at
rappers,
that time, Dre was already on, right? To some degree. Cube was trying
he
to
was
get on.
he was well known.
Yeah.
He was
I
already
think
well known.
your conversation with the glove kind of chronicalized that whole startup area, like where Dre was DJing. Can you speak a little bit to that, like the beginnings of Dre?
Well, that's what I mean. I don't think people understand is that Dre was known like within the confines of LA, Inglewood, Compton, Watts, like before NWA,
Mhm.
like before Easy, like like Easy needed Dre. Ice Cube needed Dre, not the other way around. Dre was probably still gonna be Dre, Mike.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
DLC.
Yeah.
Snoop.
Like Dre was gonna be Dre. Like the main thing I took away from the Glove interview is that he probably has the best eye for talent in the history of hip hop music. But he was the most sought after guy before he was the most sought after guy, if that makes sense.
But again, it's very Quincy like, right? Like, obviously, Sinatra sought out Quincy, but Quincy was doing his thing even before that. A lot of people just correlate Quincy with his relationship with Michael, and Quincy was the guy well before that, well
Long
before.
before.
I mean, honestly,
Literally
he was
decades.
a
Literally
decade,
decades before.
literally. Even him doing
Yeah.
The Wiz, there's a reason why he was the musical director of The Wiz, and where him and Michael actually connected to do Off the Wall, because Quincy was that guy already.
He was Frank Sinatra's musical director, Mike.
Yeah, he was with Ray Charles early.
Yeah.
Early. So
He was
yeah,
with
Dr. Dre
everybody,
has a
Mike.
similar makeup as that in hip hop. Like really, when we look at it, and I've said this even when we were celebrating Hip Hop 50, hip hop on wax is maybe about what 40 something years old. Because you want to go to Sugar Hill Gang, let's say at 79. But I think things really start with the message, personally, right? The message is 80, or is it 81? Hold on. Is the message 82?
I feel
Oh.
like it's 81.
Hold on, I want to get this correct because people would kill
It
us for
feels
not
like
getting stuff.
81.
Yeah, the message, Grandmaster. I should know this off top, but it's a lot going on, and we're live, so forget a lot of stuff live. Yeah, it's 82. So to me, hip hop on wax really starts around 80, 81, 82, something like that. Dr. Dre's here
Right.
in like 83, 84. See, he's damn near here from the beginning. And that's not something everybody could say. I mean, the only people who are like, I guess, quote unquote, relevant to modern times that can say that are him and LL Cool J, really.
So here's the thing. Here's how important he is when you really look at it. Think about how many times he's went platinum and made platinum selling artists. And when we talk about him, we don't ever talk about that. We talk about the quality of the records.
Right.
He is
We
the
never talk
prime
about his record
example.
sales.
He is the prime example about why sales are not the measure, because he actually has the sales in spades too, Mike, and we never speak on it.
Never.
We never speak on it because the quality of music is so high. We
No.
never talk about his record sales. The only
And
time
for,
we talk about his record sales, Mike, is in relationships to two albums. And that's Doggy Style and Get Rich or Die Trying. Other than that, we don't say a word about anything Dr. Dre's been associated with when it comes to sales, because his quality
mm-hmm.
even supersedes what those record sales numbers are. And that's why it's not about record sales at the end of the day if the quality's not there.
Yeah, hit that like button, everybody. I don't know why our numbers are looking real weird today. Do people not get their notifications? Let us know. Maybe it might be the time that we're coming on to. Who knows? But yeah, you're right. The record sales with him, it's never been a conversation, but he sells records every single time. Now, for him to say that Eminem is the greatest rapper ever, that goes a long way. And because again, he's been here through every phase. He's worked with Ice Cube close. He's worked with Tupac close. He, he gave us Snoop Dogg. He got the DLC, and I mean, he's seen everything. He's worked with Nas heavy. He's worked with Jay heavy. For him to say that though, I guess anybody would look at that and be like, well, it's Eminem. It's his artist. He's probably the most proud of Eminem because he saw where Eminem came from, and it was a big question mark if they could actually make it work, and they did it to a level where he became the highest selling artist ever. What do you think about him saying that Eminem is the greatest rapper ever? Oh, he worked with Rakim too.
I was actually about to say, when you actually brought up the comment about Dr. Dre, if Dr. Dre says he's going to release somebody's project, it's probably going to drop. The first thing I thought about is, well, except for the Oh My God album with Rakim.
Yeah. I
But
wonder if any of
I mean,
those
Mike,
songs are floating around somewhere.
yeah, there's about 3 of them that I've heard, Mike, that floated around.
Man.
Here's what I'll tell you about it, Mike. I don't take it seriously. I mean, since we're having the Dre conversation, first of all, a lot of Dre's wealth is attached to Eminem,
Yeah.
financially speaking. And so when somebody's made you a whole lot of money, it tends to breed some loyalty out of the situation. You
Yeah.
know, when it helps you build generational wealth for your family. But there's also the fact that, and Dr. Dre has said this, I believe it's on the show soundtrack, on the interlude. This is
Mm-hmm.
entertainment.
Yeah.
And what Dr. Dre is really saying, like the code, to decodify that some, that also means when he's saying that it's entertainment, that also means you have to play politics.
Yeah.
And so I take that as more of a political statement than an actual truth. So it's something that it's like, well, the politics of the entertainment business that Dr. Dre is as thoroughly versed in as anybody, well, that would be the choice that he would pick because of the politics involved. Nobody believes that, Mike. And deep down in his heart, he knows that's not true either. Because here's the thing about it. Like, I wish that there was a episode of MTV Jams and they had Dre and Snoop on there. And this is early on. This is the Chronic. This is before Doggy Style. As a matter of fact, it might have been right around the time What's My Name was coming out. So this is 92, 93. Should have seen the look on Dr. Dre's face. It's one of those looks that I've never forgot. When they asked him if there was any artist that he wanted to work with, Mike, it wasn't that he said Rakim. It was the way that he said Rakim.
Yeah.
Like, it was almost like you never see Dre's eyes like light up. You know what I'm saying? When he talked about the opportunity of working with Rakim in the early 90s, he lit up. he knows that
Anybody,
Eminem's not better than Rakim. Like he knows that, Mike. There's
yeah,
footage of him and the reaction of it. You get what I'm saying?
he's
But
a
you have
guy
to
that
play
was
the
very
entertainment game.
right. He's a guy that was very, very, very close to music all the way on, even when Rakim came in the door. Said it before.
Right.
Didn't even try to do that.
Yeah.
But
He was
yeah, I mean, so he knows the impact
he knows.
when somebody like Rakim came in. Even when you listen to Niggas for Life, stylistically, and shout out to the DLC, one of our greats, you could hear the Rakim influence on Niggas
Yeah.
for Life, like on the way that Dre's flowing, the way that Ren
Yeah.
is flowing. I
Yeah.
mean, Rakim is the standard, and it's hard for anyone to believe that if you were there when those standards were set, it's very hard for somebody to supersede that. It's very hard for somebody who really watched Michael Jordan's whole career to put anybody above that person. It's very difficult. And I think that's what Snoop meant when Snoop, when everybody kind of took what, I don't want to say took what he said out of context, he was just being honest. As a student of the game and as somebody who's really immersed and loved a Slick Rick, Big Daddy Kane, is really influenced by Rakim like Snoop was growing up, or Curtis Blow, or whatever. When they asked him about Eminem's music, he said he could live without it. And he feels that way because he was a grown man making his own music when Eminem came in making what he was making. So he wasn't really checking for it. None of that stuff that comes after your adolescent time period is going to touch any of the things that were made during your formative years. It just won't. You're never going to get
I
that feeling again.
I I agree with you, but only like to like the 90th percentile of it because like my beautiful dark twisted fantasy and Good Kid Mad City came out in my late 20s, like literally like on the
There are some
verge of being.
anomalies out there. Yeah.
Yeah, like I think when my beautiful dark twisted fantasy came out, I was 28. When Good Kid Mad City came out, I had literally turned 30, and it gave me that feeling. It gave me
Mhm.
that purple tape, Illmatic, Enter the Wu Tang, Low End Theory, Doggy Style type of feeling. And so it's possible, but also too, Mike, since we've been doing this show, I've said with frequency that the two best albums of the last 15 or so odd years are Good Kid Mad City and My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. But that's what Mallah was saying about knowing what the standard was and not deviating from it. You can get that feeling as a grown man. It's just that the standards haven't been upheld.
I
So
think
it's
that
like the reason we don't get that feeling is because of the standards not being upheld, not because the cat's not capable.
right. It can happen. It doesn't happen as consistently as it does in your formative years, but you're right. I think anybody with ears will tell you that 95, 96 are just superior rap years, period.
Yes.
Now I will say when Conway dropped from a king to a god, Pray for Paris, Alfredo,
Yeah. Yeah.
Magic, Daytona for me. Um,
KD3 victory lap.
KD3 is a monster, man. And you know what? Again, I think that's one of, since we're having kind of an anniversary show today, which really wasn't even pre-planned like that. I think one of my favorite moments in this show is when we did the KD3 on Station Head with everybody listening. Like, it was great that we were able to do that and listen to it for the first time with the people, but it was even better the level of quality that album was. And every song that we were listening to, it was like, whoa,
No,
whoa.
Mike. I mean, KD3 is the best rap album since Good Kid, Mad City. It's just nobody saying it.
Yeah. If we want to really be technical about it, we talk about
You
bar
want
for
to know the
bar.
truth?
It's an
Yeah,
impressive. It's an impressive showing.
and
It's
and and
solo
and
mission.
and, and in a lot of ways, it's better than To Pimp. I mean, I think it's better than To Pimp a Butterfly. That's just me personally. But in a lot of ways, it's better than Good Kid, Mad City and My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, Mike. Because if it's close, Mike, I'm gonna look at the help, and
Yeah,
he ain't
yeah,
have no help.
yeah, yeah. And see,
My Beautiful
listen,
Dark Twisted Fantasy, Mike. He got Nicki. He got RZA on the hook. Don't get me started with So Appalled with Sci High,
we ain't even gotta
Day,
go.
Push, Ross. No, Mike. Good Kid, Mad City got help, Mike.
Yeah.
Dr. Dre is on Good Kid, Mad City. J Rock is on Good Kid, Mad City. Drake, you know the second biggest selling artist of all time in hip hop, he's on Good Kid, Mad City, Mike.
With a hit.
With the wasn't that the first? No, Swimming Pool's the first single, but yeah, but with the biggest hit on there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, really,
yeah.
if we want to sparse hairs or whatnot, a lot of us are gonna go, or a lot of people will go with the mainstream success and those things. KD3 didn't get the opportunity to have mainstream success, not because the quality of the music wasn't there, it's because of politics. And honestly, if we want to look at the quote unquote singles on Good Kid, Mad City, Drake was a big part of the biggest hit on there. Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe is a monster. Now, I'll give Kendrick that. I think that's probably his most impressive single of his career, in my personal opinion. Even more so than All Right.
It's a top
Um,
5 song he's ever made.
it's a great song, and it was a great
Top
single.
5
You
song.
know what I'm saying? Like, it's one of those moments when a great artist makes something that is at their level, but they're able to make a big single off of it. And that's very impressive. And you know what? When I was making my top 50 hip hop songs of all time, I should have considered that when it comes to Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe as opposed to All Right. Because I do think that Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe is a more impressive single than All Right is. I think All Right has a theme that fit the times, and unfortunately, those times never end, so it's going to be a timeless theme in that sense. But if we're just talking about songwriting and a song that was able to adapt to radio without him compromising who he was at the time, I think
That's
Bitch
where
Don't
it
Kill
is,
My
Mike.
Vibe is his best single.
It is, Mike, because how about this? It's very it's so hard for an artist as gifted as Kendrick is to maintain who they are artistically and
Hmm.
release a song that dope that people gravitate towards, Mike.
Especially at that time. Because
Because
at
if you
that
were to
time,
ask
you
me,
had, no disrespect, and I love this artist, but you had stuff like Juicy J, Two Chains out there. They were, what I'm saying, taking over the airways because their drums were hitting heavy. They were hitting you with simplistic bars and catchy stuff and catchy hooks. And for an artist like him to be able to get some play within all of that while still being himself and having a dope single, that's impressive.
yeah, Mike,
Yeah.
like just the hook alone, I still think it's the best hook he ever did, Mike.
I Am a Sinner is probably. I'm trying to think of his. Yeah, it's one of his. Yeah, it is his best song. Can we just say that it's his best song? I'm fighting it right now, but I don't know because
The part of me,
it's his best single. Definitely, I'll say that.
his best single, the part of me, the pieces of me that are a believer and I lean on storytelling in hip hop so heavily, Mike, even maybe even more so than lyricism. So for me, like how much a dollar cost is like
Yeah,
the all encompassing of his powers type of song. But if we're just talking about in a vacuum, yeah, it's Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe, Mike. I think
yeah.
how much a dollar cost is more a reflection of the totality of his growth as an artist and his lyrical capability mixed in with the storytelling, mixed in with the message, which for the most part prior to the last album he had always hit with extremely high levels on all three of those levels. But yeah, I mean, when you say that, the only song that even comes to mind for me that I think is competing with it is "Real" on Good Kid, Mad City, and "How Much a Dollar Costs" on "To
Well,
Pimp a
I
Butterfly."
like what
For me,
someone's saying in the chat. OG Weston, man, Money Trees is heavy.
Money Trees is up there.
Yeah, but
Money,
it's not a.
like,
It could have been a better single. I don't know if it could have been a better single. It's up there though. It
how
just
about
didn't get
this?
the push that Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe got.
Okay, so here's the difference. Like, Money Trees is more of a vibe. Money Trees is more of a meme because he's your bish. You feel what I'm saying? It's more catchy. Catchy doesn't necessarily mean better, but it's up there. Money Trees might be his second best hook, Mike.
I think so. Halle Berry, Hallelujah. You know what? When I
Pick your
can,
poison, tell me what you're doing.
it's a song that I would have made back in the day. Like as far as like structurally and how that reframe came in with the chick, be the first
Yeah.
one trying to get that's some shit I would have done back then. Like I love Money Trees. I personally like Money Trees more than Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe, but from the outside looking in and just being objective, that's a
This is
perfect
what I
hit
mean.
song.
Money Money Trees is more of a vibe, but not a better song. That's what I'm
Right.
saying. Like Like when Money Trees comes on, you're a little bit more turned up about hearing Money Trees because here's the thing, Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe is actually very somber and very reflective and very internal.
Yeah,
Money Trees is more extroverted, more for mass consumption. It's more of a vibe. Like you can play Money Trees at a party.
yeah. Money Tree's got a
Yeah.
better beat, I think.
Yes. Beat the
Yeah,
Money Trees is better.
yeah, the beat to Money Trees is better. J Rock got down on Money Trees as well, man. Shout out to J Rock. When we get another J Rock joint.
Mm.
Um, but yes, he said that Eminem is the best rapper ever. I don't believe Dr. Dre's sentiments on there, respectfully. You know, we don't have to go in depth on that, but I think you hit the nail on the head. It's hard for me to believe that someone with the knowledge of Dr. Dre and with the experience of Dr. Dre and who's seen it all like Dre truly believes that Eminem is better than Rakim. I don't even
Yeah,
think Eminem would
like
believe
think about this. He's part of Ice Cube's rise. He
it.
watched Rakim's rise from afar. He's watched Nas and Jay and Big. No.
You don't think that him as an artist and as a musician, when Death Certificate came out, he didn't put that in the whip?
That's what I'm saying.
He's seen it all.
He
He
put,
was there when
he
it
played
all happened.
Mike, he was playing Death Certificate more than me and you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Raekwon, you know what I'm saying? Like he's been close to these people, so I know he listens to Wu Tang. You know he does.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
and
How can you not?
he saw Pac's work ethic. He heard the material Pac was putting together. Yeah, it
He
is.
knows, Mike.
Yeah,
He
he.
knows. Yeah.
But
We
with that
know.
we
We know that he knows.
well, with that being said, do you think maybe Eminem's new album is something that's making him feel this way? Because Dre, I'll say this respectfully, he's never said this before. He's had plenty of time to say that Eminem's the greatest rapper ever. Why is he saying it now? Do you think it's because of the new material that they're putting together, or do you think that he's saying this now because people are kind of questioning where Eminem is placed?
Both, but mostly the former and not the latter. And here's why. And I just said this earlier. Well, nobody knows the ins and out of this hip hop entertainment thing and what it takes to spark the flame, proverbially, than Dr. Dre. And so there's definitely some connective tissue between him calling Eminem the greatest MC of all time and, oh, yeah, Eminem's about to release another project.
Yeah,
That's the business, Mike. That's what I mean when it's like, well, no, he's an entertainer and he understands the politics of entertainment. And that's what Dr. Dre, when the focus is on Dr. Dre about this Hollywood Walk of Fame star and him being called the GOAT producer, and his cash cow artist is dropping a project.
yeah,
What is he supposed to say? Because the
yeah.
entertainment and politics, like the way the industry and the entertainment and the politics of the business work, well, that falls right in line with his sentiment.
Do you think that that changes the expectations of this album, though? Now, are we
No,
looking?
because Dre's a
What are the
businessman.
expectations of this Eminem album?
Okay, so back to the whole Nas thing. It's like, man, Nas fucked everybody up because he actually got old. He got our old asses thinking that the old rappers can make great albums.
Yeah,
And to be honest with you, Mike, it just doesn't happen with regularity. That's why we highlighted the run so thoroughly. It's like,
yeah,
no, Cheat Codes isn't special because Black Thought is special. Cheat Codes is special because of not like Cheat Codes is special because of what Thought did, but also the time that he did it. He's an old head.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Black Thought's
Dude,
impressive. Period. The fact that he seems to become a better MC as he gets older, we don't see that. And I listen. What Nas is doing is unprecedented, but I think that even at this stage, I don't think people would sit there and say, okay, well, Nas in 2024 is a better MC than Nas in 1996. But that's because 1996, Nas is probably the greatest MC to ever walk the face of the earth. But I can, with confidence, say that the 2020s Black Thought is a better rapper than the 1990s Black Thought. And that's crazy to say.
I mean, Mike, when you say that 96 Nas is the best rapper of all time, I agree with you, but that has more to do with the lyricism word usage and storytelling ability, that guy that we just watched make 6 albums, his flow was never that sick like
You're
that,
right.
Mike.
Yeah.
This run for me that he just did, it was more Biggie like than anything, because you saw all his encompassing great MC traits, not just the lyricism and storytelling. Nas's lyrics and storytelling have always been the forefront of his strengths. Like, he didn't have to get super lyrical in
Right.
storytelling on most of these joints to hit us. And if you take Magic out of the equation, if you take Magic 1 out of the equation, like lyrically speaking, he's not even trying to be some supreme lyricist. He's gotten so gifted as a songwriter, a hook writer,
Yeah.
flow, delivery, timing, cadence, how to use his voice, that it's like, is 96 Nas and a Flash better? Like, yeah.
But
But
overall, this one could be better.
96 Nas couldn't make Brunch on Sunday, Mike, and
You're
make it
right.
work.
You're right.
That's what I'm saying.
It's like Air
96 Nas.
Jordan versus the Jordan of 97, 98, where it's like when
But
he
this is
started
what,
scoring with his back to the basket because he couldn't do that when he
right.
was younger.
Well, here's the thing: is like everybody wants to take young Mike in that conversation. It's like, nah, look at what Mike did to Utah in Game 6. Like, go look at that 40-second sequence.
Yeah,
Like,
with limited
that's the
help.
guy. Like, that wasn't his athleticism, Mike.
That was
Like,
his
as in, that
mind.
wasn't his skill. That was his mind. That was
Yeah,
his will. That was his unwavering rationale about failure. That had nothing to do with being able to jump through the sky. And so when people pick the guy that jumps through the sky, no, no, no. Give me the guy that knows when to go double Karl Malone, swat the ball away, is smart enough to weave through traffic with the basketball. You get what I'm saying? Score the
yeah,
bucket, come back, do it again, and then hit the game winning shot. No, give me that guy. Because
yeah.
that guy is so skilled and so willed at that point, he don't need to jump through the sky to beat your ass.
But you know what? The other Jordan would have approached that differently, right? He probably would have still went for the same steal, but he would have drove and tried to, dunk it, with enough time left on
Right,
the clock. Yeah.
right. No, like it's all like, for me, I just believe in mastery.
Hmm.
And you know, 97, 98, Mike, that's a master, Mike. That's some old Shogun ass, like, you can't take the ball out my handle closed too fast, even though I'm old type of, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
he's on another level mentally with
Well,
the exercise of it all.
that's when you get to see the greats from the greatest, right? Like the people who are able to, there's a lot of great athletes, MCs in their prime. But what do you do when some of those skills fade? When you're not quicker than everybody else? When you're not more athletic than everybody else on the court? I was looking like a James Harden or something. As skilled as James Harden seems to be, I don't think there's ever going to be a point when all of those things slow down, which what we're seeing right now, where he can take over the game with his mind in that way. Because
Mike,
James
you have to
Harden
get
at
your
one
mind
point was very unstoppable.
you have to get your mind right before you can take over a game with your mind.
Yeah.
Oh, Mike, here's how I look at it.
What's
It's
going on
funny
with the
because
super chats? They not letting y'all super chat or something? Because we ain't got none.
I just watched I just watched this game the other day, Mike, and you know the game well. It's the
Mm,
AFC Championship in Kansas City, New England versus Kansas City.
yeah,
I forgot that New England was down 10 in that game.
yeah,
And in the fourth quarter, the old guy who couldn't move, who people thought that maybe it was time for him to let go, versus the young guy who literally just like threw for 5,000 yards, 50 touchdowns, won MVP in his house. Mike, he walked them down in his house. And I forgot, the Patriots actually went up 3 with a minute left in the fourth quarter.
mm,
And Patrick Mahomes, because Patrick Mahomes is going to probably go down as the second greatest quarterback of all time, Mike.
mm-hmm.
Oh, no, Mahomes went back down the field and tied the game and sent the game to overtime. Mike, do you know psychologically what that would have done to anybody not named Tom Brady, Mike? You get what I'm
Exactly.
saying? Like, and you know what Tom Brady did? Took the ball in overtime and converted on 3rd and 10 3 straight times, Mike. It's literally the best thing that you'll ever see quarterbacking wise ever. And that's not young Tom Brady that did that, Mike. That's 40-year-old Tom Brady without
Yeah,
Randy Moss, with an aging Gronk in Kansas City, with a Super Bowl appearance on the line, with the only person who's a real threat to your throne on the other side of the field.
incredible, man.
That's mental, Mike. That ain't got nothing to do with physicality.
That's why, man, when people would say or try to slight Tom Brady for being the greatest football player ever because he was slow and immobile and this and that, it's like, no, man, that has nothing to do with anything. Understand what the position entails. Now, if he was supposed to be a running back, sure. Or if he's supposed to be a receiver, sure. But based on what that position entails, Tom Brady's the best to ever do it. Point blank, period. And it's not even
Mike,
close.
it's not arguable. Even with what Mahomes is doing, it's not arguable because how many playoff games has Mahomes lost again?
Listen, man, he's not in the conversation yet. I mean, he has an
Oh,
opportunity to be in the
he's
conversation.
in the conversation for me. He's in the conversation for
No,
me
no,
now.
he's
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 officially.
won a lot, but I mean, what Tom Brady has done, he's won more than franchises, man. Like he has 7. That's not easy to do.
Mike, he got 4 after age 35.
It's
Like
crazy.
people forget. It's like no, no, no. And this is why I don't think Patrick Mahomes is the GOAT. When Tom Brady was walking around with 3 Super Bowl rings, nobody called him the GOAT, Mike. Matter of fact, people were just trying to explain why Peyton Manning was better when Tom Brady was walking around with 3 rings.
Yeah,
These are facts. But here's what I know. I know Patrick Mahomes done lost 3 playoff games.
you're
I
right.
know who gave him 2 of those L's.
At over, how old
Patrick
was he
Mahomes
when
been
he did it?
Mike, Patrick Mahomes been to 4 Super Bowls already.
So
His
it's
record
just
3-1. Who beat him?
so it's Nas Tom Brady because Nas is out rapping everybody pretty much in his
Yeah.
age bracket in the 2020s. Since we've been doing this show, happy 4th anniversary, by the way, for the people who are just joining us. Since we've been doing this show, Nas has been the best MC in hip hop.
Yes. It's
He's
not
made the
even like
best albums in the past
whoever
4 years.
whoever you would put is very much Tom Brady like because whoever you would put in second place doesn't have enough of a resume that it deserves to be much of a conversation. Because you might feel that way about Cole, but let's go to Cole's albums. Can't do it. Well, let's go to somebody like a Conway, like maybe not enough, not renowned enough, or not well known enough, not enough mainstream appeal, or not enough hit records. You know what I'm saying? Let's go to Black Thought. It's like, well, what Black Thought did with Cheat Codes. Well, Nas just did that on about 4 albums, Mike.
Right. I was gonna say we could put 4 of those albums in that 6th run up against cheat codes. We could put Magic
And it would
against
probably
cheat
be better.
codes. We could put KD3 against cheat codes. We could put KD2 and Magic 3 justifiably up against cheat codes.
Correct.
I
So
think
it's like,
that
no,
cheat codes will
it's not that
probably fall
conversation.
fourth. Would you say? I mean, I think cheat codes is better than not Magic 2, but KD2. But I don't think cheat codes is better than Magic 3, Magic 1,
Okay.
and KD3.
So here's what I would ask you because I think KD2 and Cheat Codes are very very close.
Hmm.
What's better, Aquamarine or Store Run?
Aquamarine, in my
I
opinion.
would tell you that. Okay, so here's what I mean about how like well the older version of Nas knows how to kill you with his mind. Aquamarine, lyrically speaking, is on par with what Rakim did on Let the Rhythm Hit Him. That's how high the level of lyricism is on Aquamarine.
Aquamarine's perfect.
It's God flow level, as in the
Yep.
God Rakim flow level. It's that level. Store Run's not that, Mike, but it's just as good as Aquamarine.
Hmm.
Like the hook's better, the beat's better, in my opinion.
I like the beat for Aquamarine. Now I'll give you the hook,
The
but
hook's definitely better.
yeah.
Okay, so what's better, Nobody or No Gold Teeth?
Who?
In your opinion?
In my opinion, I might go no gold T. Oh, TJ with the super chat says this is why I slow it down on Magic 2 is special.
Yep, told you. Like for me, like not the best song of the run. It's up there as the best song of the run. It's an easy top 5 song in the run, Mike.
Hmm.
But it's the message. Like he's literally poking fun at everybody else. If I have to slow it down, I won't laugh at you. It's like it's the old guy letting you know that he's already run past everybody, including this generation. And he's like, if you need me to, I can break it down a little slower for you. I can make it easier for you if you'd like, so it could be some competition.
Yeah,
I told you, Mike, when he said, Mike, I mean, that shit gave me chills when he said, I might be moving at light speed to do what I'm doing's unlikely. This new mink on me pricey. I might perm up my shit like I'm iced tea. It's like I was like, yo, I was like, I didn't know if I was listening to Nas or listening to Big.
yeah. He's developed
Yeah,
more. Yeah, and
yeah,
I think that the standards that we put on some of our elder statesmen. Somebody asked, "How do we get on Nas?" We're talking about elder statesmen being able to put together quality material and our expectations for what this new Eminem project is going to be. And I don't think that, like you said, Nas has changed things in ways where we can't just say an artist is well, they're old. They're, you know what I mean? Like the standards are still high for our elder statesmen because our elder statesmen are very active. Eminem's been pretty active too. I mean, he hadn't dropped
I
the album
told you, Mike.
Kamikaze, but
I
he's been pretty active.
I said this like when the run was happening. I was like, he is literally right in front of us, changing the way that we look at things, and it's not fair to the other MCs
Yeah.
because they're not going to be able to keep pace.
I don't think we're going to
They're
get
not
another
going to.
Day album because of this. The
Mike,
standards are different.
I don't think we're getting another cheat codes out of Black Thought. That's what I'm saying. It's not fair to everybody else. You remember? I think it was right after KD3 came out, Mike. I think a month later, Rick Ross came out with an album and Big Boy came out with an album, and you and me, we were like,
Yeah,
no, Mike, those albums were dope. But we just got done listening to KD3. And because
yeah,
we just got done listening to KD3, we was looking at them like, well, why can't your old ass do that?
exactly. And before, Jay was able to control the narrative and put out 444 and it be more of a reflective piece and not have that level of power, but still have us understand that, well, he's at this point in his career. But this KD series and this Magic series, that's changed that. So now if Jay,
Yeah,
we expect maybe not, volume one Jay, but we expect, like you said before, some developed level on that next elder statesman level, which they have
yeah,
shown possible. I mean, hip hop is
yeah.
still young and still new, and we haven't seen anybody even have the opportunity, or very little people have the opportunity to even do something like this.
I mean, Mike, it's just different. It's like because of what he did, it make me not some of my favorite rappers. It's like, oh, I'm not sure how much I want them to even drop an album anymore because I already know what my standard is now because of the KD and Magic run. It's
Yeah,
like, no, I'm cool with Scarface retiring because if Scarface were to not to make something on that level, I'd be feeling like, damn. If Ghost were to do Supreme Clientele too, Mike, and it not be on KD Magic level type of Ray, I'm a feel some type of way, Mike.
and I think that's why I subconsciously say the things that I say about Andre because I know that if he does drop what people say they want him to drop, it's not going to be what you think. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not going to be at the level that you think it's going to be at. And I guess me as a fan, I kind of fear that. And I'm like, no, man, just sit down. If you're not inspired to rap or whatever, you don't have to keep explaining yourself. You don't have to keep saying, like, yo, what is a 48-year-old going to rap about? Just go do something else. And that's fine. Because it doesn't have, you have to want to do this. You have to want to go out there and make great records. What Nas and Hit Boy just did, they did that because they love it and they wanted to. You have to. TJ with the super
He
chat
paid
says,
for a lot of this,
Does M
Mike.
have a
He
song
paid
like
for,
The Cure in the 2020s?
not that I'm privy to, Mike. He paid for a lot of this out of his own pocket. He literally did it because he's, Rock M just keeps on coming up because I know we're going to talk about some impactful artists. Well, Mike, when Rock M made Microphone Fiend, like Nas is still very much like Rakim in the sense that he is our version of the Microphone Fiend for even this era, Mike. That's a Microphone Fiend shit that he just did.
It is.
Just really loves hip hop, Mike. He really loves to rap. And so really what I think that gets lost in all of this is like, forget the skill, forget the talent, forget the songwriting ability. This really happened, and this is what I mean about the mind and the will of somebody who's great, because the nigga loved to rap. The same way Tom Brady loves to throw a football, the same way Michael Jordan loves to shoot a basketball. The love's not the same. Everybody loved, and the burning fire inside is not the same.
You're
This
right.
fire is different when it comes to rap. Tom Brady's fire is different when it comes to playing football.
And,
Like
it's
all these people talking this,
interesting.
all these
It's
people talking this Patrick Mahomes stuff. Holla at me in 10 years when Andy Reid is gone.
I was gonna say things like sports and especially emceeing. Yeah, it's easy to love that when you're in your 20s. And
Right.
okay, in your 30s, it's more of a survival thing where it's like, well, this is my career now. But in your 40s to 50, like you really gotta love this. And we kind
Mike,
of
he won
see
two.
over time who really loves this shit. There's a lot of people who are really good at the art of emceeing who might not love it like that. Jay Electronica is an incredibly talented MC. Does he love it to that level? I would have to say, as a listener and as somebody who has been watching that nothing comes out, I'm gonna say no.
I mean, no, I'm not even going to do the comparison, but you just have to understand, Mike, like the fire just burns different in some people, and really, the people who turn out to be the most special, everybody has a certain level of talent and skill, Mike. Think about, I mean, how about this? Peyton Manning has always been more talented than Tom Brady. Patrick Mahomes more talented than Tom Brady.
Aaron
Aaron
Rodgers
Rodgers,
to a degree, yeah,
Mike, John Elway, and Dan Marino were more talented than Tom Brady. So is Joe Montana. Like we can go. Andrew Luck was more talented than Tom Brady. Michael Vick's more talented than Tom Brady. Like, but Mike, when you have enough talent to play at the highest level, your mind and your fire, that's where it separates, Mike. The talent ain't what separates it.
you're right.
That's what
I
I'm
think
saying. Like the
Tracy
best
McGrady
version,
was more talented than Kobe.
he was, Mike. He had a better jumper sooner.
He was bigger. He was more athletic. He was longer. Pause. You know what I mean? Like he had all of those things, but Kobe had something different. Like it was the
It was built
mentality
different.
was different, and that
Right.
lasted longer than anything. And he wanted. And that's the thing too. And I will always admire this about Kobe. He wanted to find ways to get better. He knew he was talented from the jump, but he knew where he could improve. He knew that he needed to get a post game. He knew who to go to get his footwork right, and he was willing to put in that work to not only be a great player but continue to get better. And when you said those things about what Nas is doing now in relation to the Nas in '96, I thought of Kobe. Like this is a guy who's gonna, even though he's great and ahead of many people, he's gonna continue to work on some of those things that he might not be the best at and get you in the long run. See, a lot of people who are just super talented, they lean off of that talent and they don't want to do anything to get better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like when Mike realized that he couldn't dunk on everybody anymore, Mike, he went into the gym and worked and shot 5, 6, 700 fadeaways a day.
yeah.
Daily.
He had to start, being able to score with his back to the basket at that point.
Mike, he had already won what, 4 league MVPs and 3 titles and like 8 scoring titles and a defensive player of the year and 4 finals MVP. Like
And
who the fuck goes and shoots 700 jump shots a day after you've done all that?
speaking of him, Tom Brady, and even Nas, what I got from this Nas run was like, I applaud the level of motivation that you have to continue to have when you already know that you're cemented as the greatest. Like, how do you continue to motivate yourself to be better when you already are held to the highest standard? Everybody's telling you you're the best. You have the resume for it. You have it's highly documented that you're one of the goats, if not the greatest. To continuously be hungry and motivated to evolve and make quality music on a high level at 50 years old, that's super impressive because we're not even seeing that from some of our younger MCs who are supposed to be in their prime right now, who are
I mean, so
named as all-time greats right now.
that's what I'm saying, Mike. So I mean, so let's kind of bring it back to M right quick and how the M album is going to sound in the scope and the scheme of things, Mike. it doesn't matter because Nas put being the greatest of all time out of reach for a lot of people. Eminem is one of those people. J.
Yeah,
Cole is one of those people. Kendrick Lamar is one of those people. Like them being the GOAT, that's not conversational. And quite frankly, I don't anybody who doesn't call him the GOAT at this point are people who are outside of this culture that really don't listen to this culture like that. Like
yeah,
Stephen A.
they
Smith,
aren't
like
paying
somebody
attention.
that's from Queens, and but like the fact that he's running around still saying Jay Z and Eminem, it's like, well, fam, you're not really part of this culture like that. You're part of the sports culture, which is cool. I'm not taking anything away from him, but all of us fucking know who the GOAT is now. Like all of
I
us that are
mean,
really involved in hip hop, Mike, his peers are walking around like that's that dude. 50 walking around, that's the guy. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah,
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 yeah.
and that's just straight up
Everybody knows who the
honest, man. And like you said,
everybody,
Stephen A.
but
is
the
from
other
Queens.
MCs know, Mike. The other MCs know. That's what I mean when it's like on some Tom Brady, Michael Jordan shit. It's like damn what everybody else outside the fray says. The
Exactly.
peers, the peer group is like him.
The people who actually have to get in the studio and make albums and who have to actually hit the stage and perform, you know what I mean? Like those people, they know what it is. They understand that this guy is different. He's another level. Let me get some of these super
Yeah,
chats. Jay Money says, why is the industry afraid to call Nas the God MC?
you missed
Um,
007 super chat.
no, I got it right here.
Okay,
Jay Money was just first. He said, "Why is the industry
okay.
afraid to call Nas the God MC?" I mean, politics, man. I think what he stands for. I truly believe too. Nas doesn't. It never has fit a lot of the industry narratives. When you look at, God bless Pac and Big, and even Jay, these guys, they didn't have fathers around, right? Nas has always embraced his father. I don't think the
Mm-hmm.
industry loved that at that time because the hip hop sphere, and we talk about hip hop artists, especially coming out of poverty, coming out of the hood, one of the narratives was you didn't have a father around. And even though Nas's mother and father, had their issues, weren't together, Nas had his father on the first album, playing a trumpet solo. I don't think that the industry loved that from jump, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't think that they embraced bridging the gap in ways that they should have either. I mean, regardless if stylistically people were rocking with the song or not, but that's a great moment to have a father and a son, legendary, come together and make a record together that many years later.
I mean, not being funny, Mike. So let's just juxtapose it. It's like, oh no, they do prefer to hear um they do prefer to hear when I mean they, I mean people outside of this fray that try to put themselves inside this fray. They prefer to hear you talk about drugs and money like Jay is doing on Dead Presidents, or
Yeah,
talk about how you came up out the hood like Biggie on Juicy. Mike, they don't want to hear a black man telling a generation of kids that the world is yours.
yeah,
They don't want to hear this guy talk about how much he loves his father and his mother on
mhm,
wax repeatedly. It's
exactly.
definitely not it's definitely not part of the message that they
Yeah,
want conveyed. It's not.
and I mean, just him being real and being who he is and being honest about his upbringing and everything he stands on, I think is why the mainstream refuses to call Nas the God MC, to be perfectly honest with you. Because there's no
Yeah.
other real reason.
I mean, Mike, when Rakim is saying it and Scarface is saying it and Ghostface and Ray are saying it and 50 saying it, it's like, no, that's it. It's over.
I mean, you look at the
It's
resume, man.
over.
When we were actually jotting down all the storytelling songs that he has in his
It's
catalog,
ridiculous. It's
I mean, you
ridiculous.
could put groups of greats together that wouldn't amass that amount of stories, just storytelling songs, just that.
Mike, Ray and Ghost are storytellers, and they don't have that storytelling
They
catalog
don't.
combined.
And yeah, you know how I feel about them and their storytelling. Let me get some of these super chats. Double O
I'm
Seven with
Mike,
the
Mike,
20.
I'm talking about their stories together and the stories separately still don't account.
I agree. Shout out to Double O Seven with the $20 super chat showing love. He says, "Gentlemen, congratulations on the anniversary. Hope all is well and tell Dr. Dre to stop the cap. Also, ask him if he knew about Eminem using racial slurs when he initially worked with him. Ask everyone. I want everyone on the stand. Get the fuck out of here. I mean, listen, like you said, Coop, Dr. Dre already told us it's entertainment for him. So whether he knew or not, if it was gonna make a dollar and make some impact, sell some records, he cool with it. Critical Mass with the
Got a
super
couple more
chat.
sets.
Yeah, yeah. Critical Mass with the super chat says, winners of the next two verses should face off in the final. With that in mind, which is better, Me Against the World or Ready to Die? I used to think Ready to Die, but no longer sure. You know what? Off the top, I think Ready to Die, but when we talk about those timeless themes and how things have aged well and messages and messaging, I don't know. Me Against the World
Here's
does stand a chance because Dear Mama's better than everything on Ready to Die.
handily, handily.
Yeah. You know, again, man, I think I said this on a previous show.
Mike, I think So Many Tears is better than everything on Ready to Die too,
I was
truthfully.
thinking that too. It could be. I think we get
Maybe
blinded. At
maybe
least I
Everyday
do.
Struggle. Maybe Everyday Struggle is on So Many Tears level, but the rest of the records are not.
I love Everyday Struggle. It's one of my personal favorites, but it's not better than Shed So Many Tears. It's not.
That's what I mean. It's
Nah,
not.
nah, it's not.
It's not.
Um,
It's not.
what I was gonna say though is I think we get blinded by the remixes on Ready to Die that actually aren't on Ready to Die. So we have to take Ready to Die for what it is and not what was added later on. You know what I mean?
Here's what I'll tell you. The production on Ready to Die is better.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's without question.
But I mean, Temptations, Death Around the Corner, Dear Mama, So Many Tears. I mean, Mike,
And
I'm gonna
Pac
take all
said,
four. Mike,
Pac
Mike,
said the album would have been better if he wasn't locked up, and I believe that. They kind of threw it together because of what was going on with him. He
you
didn't
got
even
rushed because they
hear,
were.
yeah, he didn't even hear the final sequencing until he was locked up. They did all that over the phone. I think you said, like,
But Mike, but when you're the king of the timeless theme, Mike.
yeah. Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, 47 to 50-year-old Nas had an incredible 6 album run. 48-year-old Killer Mike sweeps 3 Grammys. Wu is selling out arenas. Yes, standards have changed
Yeah.
for sure. And I'm glad, man, because there was a time for people who remember that anybody who was 30 years older in rap was washed and was old.
Told you, Mike. Rakim's not even 30 when the 18th letter came out in 97.
That's crazy. That's crazy to think. You know,
People
when,
like people are
I
like the
don't
old
even
guys coming back. I'm like the old guy, the nigga's 28.
was KRS 30 when Return of the Boom Bap came out
No.
because he was
If he
viewed
was,
as
he
the
was just
old guy from what I remember.
Mike, if he was 30 when Return of the Boom Bap came out, Mike, he had just no, he's not. That's 93.
Yeah, I know.
It's not 30 in
It's crazy
1993.
how young hip hop was. Like we think hip hop's young now. Like hip hop in the '90s was you were 19 to 21 years old on your debut.
I mean, think about it, Mike. That would make him 60 now. So that's how we know he's not 30. He would be 61 right now. KRS-One not 61, is he?
I don't think so. No, I think he's still in his.
Right.
Let's see what KRS
Right. So
going
he was
for.
so he was about 27-ish when Return of the Boom Bap came out. It's like damn, the old guy going solo. It's like the old guy going solo. He's not even 30.
Yeah, he was 28. Yeah, because he was born in '65.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's crazy. Born King with the super chat says, "Peace to A2HH. Have y'all heard the new Smooth Haze EP? It's fire. Gotta write that down too. Smooth Haze. I haven't heard it
I
yet.
heard I heard Stove single.
Ha. Okay.
Love Stove.
Kanye West said that he is responsible for the last 20 years of music. I'm paraphrasing it as far as his impact and this and that. I've been on this podcast before saying vocal about the impact of 808s and heartbreaks on the current generation. Um, so I see where he's coming from with that. I know somebody said something about T Pain bringing in the auto tune because Kanye did kind of credit himself for other artists using auto tune for whole albums because of 808s and heartbreaks. the way I kind of view that part is T Pain's Dennis Rodman and Kanye's kind of Allen Iverson, right? Allen Iverson really ushered in the tattoos into the game, even though Dennis did it first, but Dennis was looked at as an isolated individual, whereas I think T Pain was kind of that in that moment. I think Kanye, when he did it, he made it where it was like, okay, well, I can do this too. Um, but saying all that to say, it made me start to think of who are the most impactful hip hop artists ever. The three most impactful, and I kind of wanted to discuss that because I don't think we really had that discussion before.
You mind if I comment on the whole Kanye thing right quick?
Sure, sure,
Impact is one of those words where the connotation of it can be negative and positive. And
right.
so what he's saying on a lot of levels is very valid. What he doesn't understand is that when I'm talking about the standard, you're officially more of the problem than the solution if you're the main reason for the impact, because the quality of music the last 20 years hasn't been as good. And if you're the one that everybody's been chasing, then you haven't done your job. Like, you didn't make people level up. And so he might be the most impactful, but he needs to be really, really careful with his words, because every time he talks about himself, he's talking about himself in a, like, oh, I changed this for the better. No, you didn't. I keep telling you, all these niggas running around that wanted to be like Kanye, they don't barely have any classic albums under their belt. That's
Yeah.
because they followed the blueprints of albums that were not classic.
Mm.
Straight up. So you're seeing the proof of what I'm saying when I tell you 808s and heartbreaks ain't like that. This is what I'm talking about, because he's right when he said he's influenced a good majority of the last 20 years. It's like, yes, I know, with an average ass album. Thank you.
So Tribe and Daylight, in my opinion, are the influences of an outcast, right? Like Outcast as a group and a
Yes.
collective, I think it's clear that they listen to Tribe and De La on a hip hop
Yes.
aesthetic. And Big Boy's
Yes.
been very vocal about, how NWA skits and the Chronic skits and stuff really influenced them too, because Outkast skits and all that flow very well with the albums. But like you
That's
said,
De La Soul.
their impact, it was seen in a positive way because Outkast was able to make classics as well. And all the people that they listened to made classics.
Mike, that's because the blueprint of what they built their foundation off of came from classic material.
And they were
The Low
stand
End Theory is an undeniable classic. Midnight Marauders is an undeniable classic. Mike, not just a classic, Mike, not a classic for the times, undeniable. As in, when you hear it, you're like, whoa,
And for people who've
what
never
the
made
fuck?
music before, and I guess you can kind of imagine, and not everybody does this, but like we were talking about earlier, with the quality and the standards, I know whenever we used to make stuff, make albums, or try to finish an album, sequence an album, I would go listen to Akumina and see how the shit lined up. I'm sure the cast was listening to the Low End Theory and the Chronic, and maybe De La Soul is Dead, just my opinion, and seeing how their shit stacked up. And you're right. If Kanye set the standard for this current generation and they're going to 808s and Heartbreaks to see how their stuff stacks up, and then they're not making classics after that, I think you're right. Like even though the impact is there, your impact still lowered the standard in that way.
Correct. Because
Now
the
his
quality
impact is
wasn't
different with
there.
Common, I would say.
But that's what I mean, Mike. When an album that's not undeniably classic impacts culture and impacts generation of artists, that's all you need to affect the quality of music. That's why the Low End Theory is so important. That's why 3 Feet and High and Rising is so important. Because those albums got made, Mike, we got Aquemini. We got When Things Fall Apart from the Roots.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got Black on Both Sides for Most Def. Because
I
those
mean,
albums got made.
because it takes a nation of millions, excuse me, to hold us back. Got made. We got Straight Out of Compton. We got the Low End Theory. So yeah,
Right.
that matters.
Mike, Doggy Style getting made. That's how Get Rich or Die Trying got made.
Facts.
Mike, the purple tape getting made, that's how Hell Hath No Fury got made.
Shit, that might be how Reasonable Doubt got made.
It is how Reasonable Doubt got made, Mike. I just didn't want to be the one to say it. Because literally a year later, he's saying the same shit that Ray is saying a year later. He's just a slicker talker than Ray. Ray's more of a tough talker, not a slick talker.
I mean, you could tell that Only Built for Cuban Links was a blueprint because Biggie was riding around listening to that shit. And even when Puff did that video where he was dancing the glaciers of ice, they were listening to that shit heavy, as they should have been.
Yeah,
It was the
it
best
wasn't.
album of '95. It's one of the best hip hop albums ever. So yes, you're
It's
going to listen to
easily.
it. Yeah, I think
I
that
mean,
the Purple Tape's the top 5 hip hop album of all time.
Mike.
Might be higher.
For me, the only albums that even deserve to be ahead of it are "It Takes a Nation to Millions" and "Illmatic." Like none of the other albums deserve to be ahead of it.
I think
Maybe
it's better
Doggy
than
Style.
Chronic.
It is. It's better than. How about
Doggy
this? Here's what I'll tell you.
Style.
Here's how impressive the Purple Tape is. The beats on the Purple Tape are better than the beats on Doggy Style. Yeah,
They
I
are, and
said it.
that's crazy. Yeah, they are.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. J.I. Design with the super chat says, where would y'all place Mahomes in the greatest quarterback list if the Chiefs three-peat or go undefeated? Well, I mean,
They're not going undefeated. If they three-peat, I'll put them at 2. Because that'll be 4 rings. Tom Brady will be the only one that's dinged them, really.
yeah.
But it's, Mike, people don't understand this is like, teams have won back-to-back championships before. It's hard. The Cowboys have done it. Patriots have done it. 49ers have done it. It's hard, Mike. Like, it's hard to go 3 times. The Broncos did it, and John Elway retired. I actually think the Broncos team probably had the best shot at doing it because they still had a peak Terrell Davis, and John Elway was still John Elway, like, when it mattered. So I think they were the last team that really had the best shot at the three-peat. You know what I'm saying? I mean, not to be funny, and I'm not trying to be funny when I say this. I would like somebody other than San Francisco to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl when Kansas City's going to the Super Bowl. Because when I look at how San Francisco has played in these 2 Super Bowls against Mahomes and Andy Reid, it makes me sick to my stomach.
No. They could have won this game, cool. The field goal could have lost this game for them.
No, Mike, they should have won this game.
Yeah, they should have won this game.
Listen to me very carefully. Give Christian McCaffrey the ball on every play until they prove that they can stop it.
Yeah, when he got that fumble, they kind of slowed down on him.
Right. No, Mike, that's not how it works when you got an MVP Hall of Fame type of running back. That's not how it works, Mike.
Got to keep going.
Like, how about this? If Emmitt Smith would have fumbled the football, Jimmy Johnson would have looked at him and been like, give the ball back to Emmitt.
Yeah, don't fumble again. K. Nicole with the super right. K. Nicole with the super chat says the rap game is like the crack game. The industry does not care about standards, just what sounds are addicting. Yeah, just what sounds addicting. For sure. I think we got a couple more super chats. OG Weston with the super chat says, what impact did Kanye have on the South? The region that's been running hip-hop for decades. Relax, yay. That's a really good point. I think Boosie brought that up, too. He was like, you didn't impact Wipe Me Down or Boosie's catalog or anything like that. I think that's a fair point.
It's a fair point. It's just coming from the wrong person.
Yeah. Rigomatic with the super chat says,
like it looks different if Wayne or Scarface or T.I. or Rick Ross say that. It's Boosie. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. Boosie has spent more time. Boosie has spent more time being like a social media figure than he has an actual rapper, Mike. So it's like, you know,
yeah,
he's in Plies territory, Mike. I look at him the way I look at Plies.
Kanye could say, I made a hit record for Ludacris. I made hit records with Trina. I made great stuff with Jeezy. I made great stuff with Scarface. And I made great stuff for T.I. He could say that.
Well, he did. He did do that.
Yeah, he did do that. Rigomatic,
but he also made 808s and Heartbreaks, which fucked the game up. And I've been saying that for a long time.
Who are the... All right, we got Tupac in number 1 most impactful MC of all time, right?
Easy.
Where we going after that? Hold on, let me go to Rigomatic real quick. Rigomatic with super chat says, Coopin pulled out the velvet hoodie. That's how you know he's standing on business. We love y'all content. Salute A2HH. We love y'all too. We appreciate that. Standing on business. Yes. So we got Tupac, the most impactful MC all time. He's the logo. Who's number two? Is it Jigga Man?
I'm actually going to surprise you with this, Mike, and you may not like it.
Uh-oh.
I think
Lil
it's Lil
Kim?
Kim, Mike. It
Could
is,
be.
Mike. It's Lil
Could
Kim.
be. It
It's
could
Lil
be.
Kim, Mike.
Could
It's Lil
be.
Kim. No,
I have
ain't
no
no could
problem
be,
with that.
Mike.
I have no problem with
Mike,
that.
the entire,
She's changed
like,
everything.
she changed, Mike, 95% of the female rap game is because Lil Kim existed.
Especially
Like, to
right
me,
now.
that, Mike, I'm talking about right now, 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
She changed shit immediately. As soon as she dropped down, everybody changed up what they were doing. The Brat changed up. Left Eye
MC
changed
Light,
up what she was doing. MC Light
MC
changed
Light.
up what she was doing. Foxy Brown
Foxy
changed up what
changed.
she was doing.
Foxy changed it. Foxy didn't even have to change, Mike.
Exactly. I don't think there's an MC who made everybody change immediately and even thereafter to the level that Lil Kim did. So yeah, if you want to say Lil Kim is the second most impactful rapper all time,
Yeah,
I'm not mad at that on any level.
he is, Mike. Niggas better be had Tupac existed because she would be number one on this list if not for Tupac, Mike.
She changed everything, and she
She
don't get enough
changed
credit for that.
everything. She getting
She
her credit today, Mike, because I've been saying it since we started doing this
Mhm.
show.
Yeah,
She is the GOAT. She is the as far as you know. I know Love doesn't like it when we classify the female from the male MC and the separatism that comes with it. But if we were picking a GOAT female MC and we were doing our rubric and we were checking our boxes and adding up the scores and the points, nobody would be fucking with her because right there is where she would start blowing the rest of them out of the water on impact, Mike. Name a better rap album better than Hardcore Than a Woman's Made. I don't give a fuck who wrote what. Name a rap album that a woman's made that's been better than Hardcore.
I'm not mad at that. No, you're right. I
So if
don't
she
think there
made
was
the best
one that
rap
exists.
album, so if she made the best rap album that we've ever heard from a woman, she's been the most impactful, and she got more hits than all these niggas too.
Yeah, probably more important verses too.
Mike,
Benjamin's
not
verses,
just
of
more
course.
important. Hold on. Not just more important, but best verses too, Mike.
Yeah,
Told you, outside of Lauryn Hill, nobody got a better bar for bar verse stealing catalog, and Lauren doesn't have enough work for it to even match up the Kims.
it's true. And for the people that are saying that Foxy didn't change, go listen to Hotspot. Go watch the Hotspot video. Shit, look at the China Doll album cover. It is what it
Mike,
is. Like you said, Foxy didn't have to change, but Kim put pressure on everybody. I'm sure those offices at the record labels and the radio stations, they were putting pressure on all the women in the game to match what this woman was doing. Kim made them change
Mike,
everything and threw out the book.
Mike. Here's how impactful she is, even on the male counterpart side of things, Mike. I never heard any guy roll through any hood that I ever lived in or any hood that I ever went and kicked it in and bump a female MC until Lil Kim and Junior Mafia and Hardcore came out. I had never heard that before. Niggas need to stop acting like they was going around playing Black Rain by Queen Latifah. No, you weren't. You was not bumping Black Rain in the whip. You was not bumping Light as a Rock in the whip. No, you won't. But Mike, when I mean she had everybody on lock, Mike, I seen niggas going up the street playing I Can Love You by Mary J. Blige, talking about dipping on your Ninja Honda with Tanisha and Rhonda. Why?
And she
Like
got
niggas
quoted.
was doing that. She had it like that, Mike.
No
They were
Time
singing
is a
her
banger.
R&B. We were singing her verses on R&B songs.
No
Game,
Time was
set,
a
match.
banger. I remember that. I remember No Time being a straight up banger. Not even thinking
Mike,
like, okay, this is a woman's rap song or whatever. And listen. I
it
love
didn't matter.
Funkified. You and I have talked about Funkified. The Brat was a beast when she came in the door in '94. But Kim
Love it.
changed everything.
Yeah,
Even the
love it.
Brat. She had the Brat in a damn bikini with Tyrese and shit. Like that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for Kim. It's just true.
No, it's changed everything, Mike.
Yeah, she changed everything. Ed with the super chat
She's
says, "Y'all
she's an
ready to talk
icon.
about?" He said, "Y'all ready to talk about how Cole being the best rapper alive and sounding like he's about to drop album of the year?" There's a lot of missing variables with Cole. Now we talk about pressure being on an artist. I don't think there's ever been this level of pressure on anybody because of the build up, right? Like I think there was pressure for Kendrick to drop Mr. Morale because of the break. But I think that what Kendrick had done before Mr. Morale, album wise, kind of had him cemented for a lot of people. I think most people can say that Cole hasn't given us the album that we believe that his skill set offers. And I think that with him giving us all these great features, we're looking for something even greater as it comes. I hope he can deliver it. I think he can, but it's a lot of pressure.
Mike, his GOAT talk is on the line.
It is. Because if this album is, as you guys say, mid, oh man.
First of all, it's not going to be mid. There's no
Yeah,
way he's going to do mid. But if it's not what we need it to be, like he knows, Mike. He's very self aware. Like he knows
he is. He
what the
knows.
levels are. He knows what the expectations are.
And
He
I'm
knows.
sure as a hip hop fan, he listens to these shows, possibly this show, and hears the stuff that's being said. Um, I think Hit Boy is his answer, in my personal opinion. But if that doesn't happen, it's not just about beats, it's about creating moments musically. No one's going to sit there and say Kendrick has quote unquote great beats, even though he does have dope production. But he was able to create moments with Good Kid, Mad City. You know what I mean? It wasn't about the beats per se.
I mean, Mike, it seems kind of trivial to say this. He just needs to make album of the year. He needs to
Well,
make the album of the year. And
if
I know it
they
seems like I know I'm saying it kind of nonchalantly, but it's like for everybody who is on his level in the mind of the people has something that people would argue about they made the album of the year under their belt.
correct. I mean, for Complex to name him as the best rapper alive for 2023, and he didn't even drop an album that year, I think it's very important for him to drop album of the year in that following year. I mean, that's the least you could do,
All right.
right?
How about this? What year did The Fix come out by Scarface?
That was 2002.
Was that the best rap album that year?
Yes, I think so.
And The
I think
Diary came out.
The Eminem show was out that year, and excuse me, Lost Tapes was out that year, off the top of my head.
Yeah, I'm taking The Fix.
Yeah,
Like I prefer the highs of the Lost Tapes, like No Ideas Original Do Rags, but I'm taking The Fix. Um, so Mike, all the rappers who are in my top 10, I believe, have an album of the year under their belt. Mike,
hmm
like that's top 10 stuff. Mike, Ice Cube has Death Certificate in America's Most.
yep,
Nas has Illmatic and It Was Written, and KD3 and
yep,
Magic.
yeah.
Jay's got The Blueprint and Reasonable Doubt. Scarface has The Diary and The Fix. Ghost has Iron Man and Supreme. Ray's got The Purple Tape. KRS has
Criminal Minded.
Criminal Minded. Rakim has Paid in Full, Follow the Leader, and Let the Rhythm Hit Him.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Big
It's like,
Daddy
no.
Kane has Long Live the King.
Long live the Kane.
Yeah.
Yes, Mike. Slick Rick has
Biggie
The
has
Greatest
Ready to
Adventures of Slick
Die
Rick.
and Life After Death. Tupac has All Eyes on Me, Machiavelli, and Me Against
Me
the
Against the World.
World.
Right.
Yeah, it's
Right.
only fair.
It's not negotiation. Like, you can't negotiate that shit, Mike.
Even if you want to go to Kanye West route, he has College Dropout. He has Late Registration and Graduation. Common
And
has B.
My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Common has B.
Yeah.
Yes.
Common has Like Water for
Yeah.
Child, which could have been an
Yes.
album of the year. Now, I think B is
Red,
undisputably an album of the year contender. 50 even had
Man,
Richard.
Mike, Red Man has Muddy Waters.
He does.
Wayne has Carter 2 and 3.
Yeah. You got to have them.
Yeah.
It's
You
a
have
non-negotiable.
to. It's not a negotiation. You don't get to negotiate that shit and be in the GOAT conversation. That's what this is about. Like,
Because to
and for
me,
people,
if you're a really dope MC, bar for bar and verse for verse, and you have some dope songs here and there, and you don't have the albums to match per se, then you get in the Jadakiss Method Man category, and that's no disrespect. It's just what it is. Like that's what I've always kind of viewed it as. And Jada and Method, two of my favorites. But if I'm in an argument with somebody, I'm not gonna argue you down. The Method Man's better than Tupac. I can't do that. You know what I mean? Even though I might enjoy some of Method Man's performances more than I do some of Tupac's performances, I cannot argue
here's what
anybody down. The Method Man's better than Tupac. I can't do it.
here's what the conversation because here's what the conversation becomes, and this is what I don't want for Cole. Well, Jada Kiss should be better than Nas. Well, Method Man should be better than Big. Ain't nobody trying to hear that woulda, shoulda, coulda shit.
No, it ain't. You're just
Ain't
not.
nobody trying to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You woulda
again,
what?
it's back
You
to
shoulda
Tracy
what?
McGrady should have been better than Kobe, but he's not.
Right. I mean, shit, McGrady should have been better than Iverson, but he wasn't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's about how you perform.
yeah. On the big stage when the lights are the brightest.
Mike, and that's why, and I'm gonna tell you what gave me the confidence to say that like he was gonna do it is when I heard him on first person shooter. I'm like, oh no, he gets it. He understands the moment better than he ever has before.
He
And he
understands
delivered
what's going
then.
on. I'm looking forward to
Yeah,
what
he
he's going to
understands
put
what's going on.
out. He understands what's going on out here. We got a few super chats here. Cool. J.I. Design with the super chat says, San Fran reminds me of Seattle versus the Patriots Super Bowl. They fumbled the bag. The pressure and stress make you do things out of character. Let's see what else we got. K Nicole with the super chat says Kim's verse on Usher's My Way album is underrated. Man, Kim
I
got
agree.
all kind of moments,
So
man.
I will tell you that Baltimore is the one that fumbled the bag more than San Francisco did because Baltimore played so frighteningly out of character because they knew Mahomes was on the other side of the field. It was really disgusting to watch. It was
Mm.
really disgusting to watch. Like the way that they got out of character. Like I had never seen Zay Flowers like taunt anybody all season or fumble like that all season, and he did it on back-to-back plays.
Mm.
You got the number one rushing team in the league, and you want Lamar Jackson to beat the number two ranked defense in the league from the pocket?
That wasn't.
Mike, he had so many lanes. Mike, he could have ran for 150 yards in that game. There were so many lanes. I was like, am I the only one seeing that 3 yard gap in between the left guard and the left tackle for him to run straight through with his 4.2 speed? Am I the only one missing that? Oh, it's like we're throwing another out route. We're throwing
That's
another
coaching.
post, throwing another fly pattern.
Yeah, that's coaching. Esquire with the super
Coaching.
chat says, Mike, I want to express my disappointment in your stance on Luda versus Fat Joe topic. And two, the missed opportunity to rebuttal Leroy's argument about J. Cole. Leroy Green said that Ludacris is better than J. Cole. I mean, I didn't think that there was any need to even argue that, but nah. He's I think J. Cole's just a more complete MC. He's done it for a longer period of time on a high level. I think neither one of them have knockdown, drag out classic albums. You know what I mean? And then you start to go on the preference of MC ability. And I just think that, Cole can cover way more topics than Luda. And I think from a skill to skill set standpoint, that could go either way depending on what your preference is.
I'm tired of talking about Luda because every time we talk about Luda, it seems like we're putting somebody ahead of him, and I just don't. I'm just tired of doing it.
I love
He
Luda,
had a
man.
really
I
good
think he's had one of the
right.
greatest careers, you know what I'm saying, in hip hop. Like he's had an incredibly successful career. But if we
I
just
mean,
talk
actually, like on the low, Mike, his wife and his kids just came and ate in the spot that I was working at, like literally 2 days ago, 3 days ago. Hold on, what's today? Wednesday. On Sunday, they were there.
yeah, Luda's had an incredibly crazy not crazy,
His his
incredibly successful
his his handler though, and this she was awful though.
career. Not the handler. Esquire with the
Yeah,
super chat says word
publicist,
of mouth.
handler, agent. I don't give a fuck what you call them. She was awful, but it's all good.
So Esquire says word of mouth and Chicken and Beer are better than every Busta and Fat Joe album. And as for Cole, you should have asked Leroy why his Beans and Bleak didn't capitalize like Cole did. Oh yeah,
No,
because
hold on,
Leroy's
hold on.
argument was the fact that J. Cole capitalized on having that Jay-Z backing in a way where Luda got it out the trunk. And I was like, well, Luda was on radio. He did have some level of a leg up. He did have a Timberland song that was on the radio and on Tim's bio well before that as well. So,
Jarv up in the chat. What up, Jarv?
what up, Jar? Shout out to Right Round Table out there. Ed with the super chat says, Friday Night Lights and 2014 Forest Hill Drive are arguably classic. Off season had elite raps. It's fair to say that he is an arguable top 10 of all time. What do you say about that?
Did you not understand the words that just came out of my mouth? Did you not listen to the albums that I just named? This is exactly what I'm talking about when I'm saying we're
Yeah.
not about to negotiate his way into the conversation. You don't get to negotiate your way into the conversation. You rap your way into the conversation. And what's missing from the repertoire for him to rap his way into this rap conversation is the album. Listen to the albums that I just named. I'm going to name, listen to the albums you just named, and I'm going to name some of the albums that I just named. I said The Diary. I said Only Built for Cuban Links. I said Illmatic. I said Reasonable Doubt. You said Life After Death and Ready to Die. The Greatest Adventures of Slick Rick. Paid in Full. Let the Rhythm Hit 'em. Stop fucking playing with me.
If we did a top 100 hip hop albums all time, would we name 100 albums before we got to any J. Cole albums or projects?
We would name at least 70, Mike.
I'm confident that we could name 100.
100
And I'm not trying to
strong.
be funny, but do you not think that Kendrick has 3 albums better than all of Cole's albums?
Yes.
Yeah.
Too definite.
So,
Good Kid,
so
Mad
if
City.
Kendrick has that, imagine how many others have, and we're not even counting the groups.
I mean, this is what I'm saying about, okay, so not to go back to it again, but it's like, okay, so Reasonable Doubt, The Blueprint, The Black Album, Illmatic, It Was Written, Stillmatic, Paid in Full, Follow the Leader, Let the Rhythm Hit 'em, Life After Death, Ready to Die, Machiavelli, All Eyes on Me, Book 1 and 2, Me Against the World, like
And Get Rich or Die Trying, Supreme Clientele. Go on and on.
Doggy Style,
Yeah.
Mike,
Mad
Chronic
Villainy.
2001.
Mad Villainy. Does he have a better album than The Minstrel Show? We'll keep it North Carolina.
I think Forest Hills is better than The Minstrel Show.
Really?
Just me personally.
I disagree with
Yeah.
that. But, Esquire with the
I mean,
says, as a body of work, not impact, he says 2014 Forest Hill Drive is better than the Carter 3. How? How exactly?
But is it better than the Carter? But Mike, okay, so even if you feel that way, it's not better than the Carter 2. So
Well, no. Let's
trying to
stay
hear
on the
it.
Carter 3. Where's the Amelia at?
Mike, where's the Mr. Carter at?
Yeah. Like,
That's a banger.
I mean, we can't just say that. Say, where's the
Mike,
Let the Beat Build?
You ain't. I about to say Let the Beat Build is my favorite joint. You Ain't Got Nothing on Me with Jewels and Fab.
Yeah. No. I'm not ready to just say that. You know what I mean? Like,
La
I'm
La La with
sorry.
Busta and David Banner. Started
Exactly.
out hustling, ended up balling.
Records like a Millie matter because they don't come around often. So you can't just sit here and say,
Wayne, look, Mike.
Yeah.
You know how big a Millie is? Wayne said a Millie is his GOAT song.
Exactly. And he's made a million songs, literally.
Literally.
Yeah. For him to say that, that's a life-changing moment for him. And that's not even counting records that, I don't really love Lollipop like that, but it's a banger. It's a classic for a lot of people.
Mike, low-key, I love Lollipop. I don't think it's a classic, but I think it's a banger, Mike.
It's a moment. It's a big song.
He's sliding on there, Mike. He's sliding on there. Yeah, he's sliding on there.
It's a game changer, too. Kendall Outlaw with the super chat says, Paul McCartney, Billy Joel, and Elton John all can all battle Stevie Wonder for the GOAT. I've once said that Billy Joel is the white Stevie Wonder, but
you mean those 3 guys combined?
Right. Is that what he's saying? Home. Paul McCartney, Billy Joel, and Elton John can all battle Stevie Wonder for the GOAT. No, they can't do it individually. I don't think.
Paul would be the closest one individually, and
No, no,
no,
no. It's not happening.
no,
Okay.
no.
So we're down to our third person, right? I can roll with you with Kim being top three most impactful. We got Tupac, we got Lil Kim.
It's a fascinating conversation with Lil Kim and Tupac are the answers to the question when we're doing the top three about something.
So these are the people I have on the short list, right? Who should be
Okay.
next? You got Rakim because he
Yep.
changed the way everybody flows and everybody raps, right? From there on out.
Right.
Um, you got Jay Z. Jay Z's
Yep.
impact is what it is, like from fashion to slang, and he's a trendsetter, I would say. And then you got Kanye West, whose impact is all over the place, and I think Lil Wayne is on that short list too, because everybody in this era looks like Wayne.
It's true to a degree, Mike, but I was probably leaning towards Kanye until we started talking about Dr. Dre, Mike.
His
And in
impact's
reality,
crazy.
it is. Like, because here's what you think about the impact of this. Remove Dr. Dre's catalog from hip hop. Hip hop's not the same, Mike.
It's not. He
Like,
got a
think
whole
about this.
coast.
No, Mike, no, let's like this is what I mean when we were having the Kanye Dre debate. It's like, well, if Dr. Dre doesn't exist, Easy Does It, The Chronic, 2001, Doggy Style, Get Rich or Die Trying, The Eminem Show.
And
No one
everything
can
that
do it
spawned
better.
from that. Yeah.
Look, no one can do it better. Like, no, niggas for life, straight out of Compton. Like, no, Mike, that like we just got done having a conversation about how the sales don't matter because the quality of music is so there and the quality is what matters. Who has made more impact on the quality of music in this sphere than Dr. Dre?
You're right. And you know what? Even when we talk about recent material, in my personal opinion, with the exception of Eminem's catalog, Dr. Dre has been about quality. And even when you talk about him selling, headphones, his selling point with the Dre beats is quality. Quality production. You're going to hear that level of quality through these headphones. So yeah, there never was a point where, and y'all know how much of a Kanye fan I am. There never was a point where Dr. Dre was just out here experimenting. Yeah, it has 1 billion streams, but do you think that it's bigger and better than a Millie? Leroy Green's in the building. Say what up, fellas? I'm listening to the show, and I've been warned. I'm sorry, I've warned folks before about going into albums with expectations. You're setting yourself up for disappointment. Is that Eminem or J. Cole? I think that at this point, disappointment or not, we have to go in there with expectations for J. Cole's next effort. We just do. It's just unfair not to because he's being placed super high without having what, you know, a normal top 10 MC would have. He's not top 10. For the person that said he's top 10 earlier, he doesn't have the album. You have to
Okay,
you have to have
so
a knockdown, drag out classic album.
so Redman's not in our top 10, Mike. He's more about 15 on our list. When you say Redman fall about 12, 15 on the list, right?
Maybe further than that, respectfully.
What about DMX? DMX top 15?
I think so. Top 20.
So DMX and Redman are top 20, right?
Mm-hmm.
Has J. Cole made anything comparable to It's Dark and Hell is Hot or Muddy Waters?
No.
Then
Do
it's
you
not a
think
conversation because they
you
have
think
just as
J
many
Cole
stellar
is
verses as Cole does.
you think J Cole's over DMX?
No, God, no, that's crazy.
I want to see what the people say. I'm gonna poll this
DMX
real
made
quick.
its dark and hell is hot. You want to know why? Because DMX made its dark and hell is hot, Mike.
That's where my argument would be. Do you think bar for bar, if they want a
Mike, that
song together, who's gonna stand out?
X.
Well, Esquire with the super chat says the Carter 3 is iconic and has big moments, but it has notable missteps. Phone Home, Lollipop, Got Money, Mrs. Officer, yeah, bitch. I be with my dog like Shaggy. Well, Lollipop's a hit, Got Money's a hit, and Mrs. Officer's a hit. But if you want to call the hits missteps, then I don't know if they're missteps per se. They're missteps to who? Let's see. Who's the better all time MC? Let's see. J. Cole, DMX, get him that seniority.
I mean,
DMX
truthfully,
or
Mike, I don't think Forest Hills is better than Flesh of My Flesh or Blood of My Blood either.
I'm with you, and I'm not a huge fan of
It's
Flush
got
of
Mike
My
Flesh of My Flesh got Slippin', The Omen, Blackout, Ride for Me, come Where I'm From with Mary.
Yeah.
The joint with the locks used to be my dog. You was in my left titty. Yeah, it's
Esquire
some shit
says
on there,
the
Mike.
Esquire says, does X have 6 quality albums in his catalog?
Does J. Cole have 6 quality albums in his catalog, Esquire?
I
What are
think
you
the main
talking about?
argument would be the fact that DMX's longevity doesn't match J. Cole's longevity. Um, but and that's not a bad
Mm-mm.
argument. I'm with
Oh,
that.
Mike.
Do the high moments match?
No, Mike.
DMX
DMX,
is winning this in a landslide. It's 46
Mike,
votes, 77% to 23%.
Mike. With Nas and Jay Z in their prime and Puff at his peak, that man single handedly changed the rap landscape with his style.
That's the
Stop
thing.
that.
That's the thing.
Stop that.
If you're a game changer and you change things, there's only a handful of people who have changed everything that was going on, and he's one of those guys.
Mike, he bought the hoodies and Tim's back out. And I love me some hoodies and some Tim's.
What do you think about 50
Fuck all
Cent?
that stuff.
Is J. Cole
Is he
better
better
than
than
50 Cent?
Mike? Get rich or die trying. Like this is what I mean.
And he changed things.
Absolutely. And he's a far superior hook writer than Cole.
Well, he's a better hook writer than everybody.
Well, he's a better hook writer than everybody. Right. But what I'm saying is that Mike, you can't. We got bars matter. Mike, all bars matter. Okay, all
I mean,
bars matter.
does Cole have anything like Mini Man? What up, gangster?
No, that's what I'm saying, Mike. It's not just the ability to rap your ass off, Mike. You have to create memories. You have to create moments, and you have to create albums to get in this conversation that people are going to remember forever, Mike.
Do you think J. Cole would beat 50 Cent in a versus?
Hell no.
I think I'm gonna. I know we about to get out of here, man, but I think I'm gonna listen to Get Rich or Die Trying tonight. I feel that album's gonna make me hype. And 50 Cent is the greatest hook writer in, in hip hop history. That's saying a lot. That's a huge compliment and a huge achievement. Hooks are important. But
All hooks matter,
if
Mike.
he's not better than 50, is he top 25 then? And does a new
That's right.
great album, an album of the year, changes all these things though? I'm gonna say that.
Okay, so first of all, this is what I mean about how he just needs to make an album of the year. Because in a vacuum, do I think that he's a better MC bar for bar than a 50 Cent or a DMX? Yes, I do.
Yeah.
But here's the thing about it, Mike. You bring up the cannabis shit all the time, Mike. All that bar work, it don't matter when you don't make the songs and the albums that connect.
You
And
know,
Very few albums in the history of rap, Mike, have connected the way It's Dark and Hell is Hot and Get Rich or Die Trying connect. Like those are Mike, those are easily, Mike, listen to me, those are easily two of the 20 greatest rap albums ever made.
Easily, easily, easily,
Easily.
easily.
The only conversation about those albums is if those albums are top 10 albums all time.
Esquire with the super chat says none of Cole's albums are bad. Everything after and then there was X was mediocre. Cole doesn't have
None of the albums are bad. That's the argument. None of the albums are bad. Yippee ki
he
None of
said
the
Cole.
albums are bad, Mike. That's great. Who are we? Who are we to want a legendary moment from a legendary MC? What was I thinking? Let's just keep on accepting these 3.5 and 4s. That's great. That's
Is it
fine. This is what I mean about the standard, guys and
yeah.
girls. This is what I mean about the standard. Well, he's got 6 solid albums. I don't give a fuck.
Cole doesn't have a IDAHIH, but let's look at the entire catalog. You're doing it in the law of averages. I get that. All seven with the super chat says X literally
Man,
ran rap in 98, 99. Cole isn't close. Kendall
man.
Outlaw with the super chat says DMX material didn't age well. People still bark like a dog. It had its time and place.
Okay, we're kicking Kendall out the chat for talking crazy. Saying, Mike, saying DMX material didn't age well. He made It's Dark and Hell is Hot, Mike.
Slipping
That is
didn't
one of
age well to you guys?
Mike, that's one of rap's best and most important albums. Like, it's not only one of the best rap albums ever made, it's one of the most important rap albums ever made because it changed the entire climate of hip hop. So, respectfully, Kendall, like, what are y'all on, Mike? Like what? Like, are there new strands of marijuana being created that I don't know about that
I
you
think
all are
J. Cole's
smoking? It's
longevity
making you
is getting.
delusional.
I think J. Cole's longevity is getting credence over DMX's, I guess, short-lived heights. And I think those peaks and valleys that happen during DMX's career, people are, factoring in. Esquire says, y'all downplay
Mike,
Cole's impact because he's closer to your age, but appeals to a younger generation. You know what? I will say this. Cole has had impact. I think that Cole, Kendrick, and Drake had impact together, but do you think, Esquire, Cole has a greater impact than Kendrick and Drake? Because I don't.
okay, Mike, here's how you need to look at it, Mike. When you're talking about longevity, okay. Now, Mike, I believe Frank Gore is right ahead of Barry Sanders on the all-time rushing list. I believe, or right behind him.
Mm-hmm.
Barry Sanders played 10 years, Mike. Mike, he made first or second team All-Pro all 10 years that he played. Now, Frank Gore played about 16, 17 years, and his numbers are comparable to Barry Sanders. Mike, who you taking, Frank Gore or Barry Sanders?
Barry Sanders.
Right. So people trying to take J. Cole over DMX, it's like, I don't give a damn if Cole did it for 20 years. He didn't have the moment that X had.
We can go
DMX is
criteria.
there.
We can use the criteria, and I
People
think
don't want to do that. You
I
don't
think
want to do it.
DMX will come out on top because who has the better
You don't
rap
want to do it.
voice? Who's a better
X.
hook maker?
X.
Who's a better song maker?
X.
Who has the classic albums?
X.
Who's the better performer?
X.
I mean, what else do we need?
Cole's not, hold on, Mike. Cole's not even beating him on storytelling.
I was gonna
He's
say,
only
who's the
beating
better
him lyrically.
storyteller?
X.
Yeah,
Who's better lyrically? Cole.
yeah. I think that's about where we're at. Brandon Thompson with the super chat says,
greater impact. Mike, greater impact. DMX or J. Cole?
DMX.
Yeah, it's not the conversation y'all are trying to make it out to be. Y'all are trying to make this into a lyrical miracle conversation. And that's exactly why we created the rubric, Mike.
Yeah,
It's like, no. That's the whole point of it, so that you can't just lean on lyrics like forever and forever and a day and be like, oh, that's what makes him the GOAT. If that's the case, Cannabis would be the GOAT, Mike.
right.
Chino XL.
Roz
You
Kaz.
know, yeah, Mike.
Yeah,
We can
because
go down the
lyrically,
line.
niggas ain't seeing that.
Yeah. Oh, Mike, niggas still ain't fucking with Nature of the Threat off Soul on Ice.
No, not at all.
So It's a whole 8-minute dissertation, Mike.
It's
Wonderfully made.
incredible. Not a lot of
It's
people can do
masterful.
that. Brandon Thompson with the super chat says DMX own the time. Love the show. Appreciate the love. Ken Nicole with the super chat says just curious. What are you guys' thoughts on for your eyes only? It's cool. Just like everything else, it was cool. I like For Your Eyes Only. I think it was a dope concept. Um, but yeah, I don't think it was like I said, when I heard Daytona for the first time or anything like that. Esquire with the super chat says, Mike, as Coop interrupted you, you conveniently ignored the part about all of X's posts, and then there was X being mediocre. No, I didn't. More than half of his LPs. Okay, before we get out of here, let's address that. So, if an
No, Mike,
artist starts off,
I got a little bit more airtime.
okay, cool, cool. If an artist comes in with a bang, right, and let's just say that their catalog, kind of tapers off, what does that do to their overall legacy? Do we do we knock them for it? Do we nix them for it against somebody who's just kind of been mediocre and consistent but never hit a home run?
Okay, so let's look. So let's look at it like this, Mike. What if Patrick Mahomes doesn't win another Super Bowl?
He's straight, still great,
Right, right, Mike. He's still in the convo, right?
right?
And what I'm saying is that no, DMX in a very short amount of time put himself in a conversation that J. Cole does not reside in yet,
He
and that's just it
proved
at the end of the day.
DMX proved out the gate, and to us it was out the gate because he was peers with Jay, Nas, and all these guys because he came early, but didn't really jump off until like 98, 97. He proved that not only was he on those guys' level, but at the time he was better than them. Like in 98, DMX is better than Nas and Jay. That's not just something to just scoff at. Like he was. Like it is what it is.
Hold on 1 second, Mike.
Yeah. You think that J. Cole has a better quote unquote love song than How's It Going Down? Because I don't.
Love Yours could be up there.
Better than How's It Going Down?
I'm just trying, Mike. I try to play both sides of the fence, Mike. I try to
Okay.
be objective about it, but it's just yeah,
And that's a
it
storytelling
just
song too. How's It Going Down is.
I'm very much so, Mike. He's a better storyteller than Cole, and Cole is a pretty masterful storyteller. He's just not DMX because he's
Yeah.
not as compelling as DMX.
A politicking with the
DMX's
chicken
stories are
under if I'm
compelling.
a creeper. Little hood wet bitch from 25th and Tamika coming through like I do. I mean, I guess you had to
My
be there
ball
for some
song.
people. Esquire with the super chat says, yes, you knocked them. Is Slick Rick in the same convo as Ice Cube? Know the separating factors. Rick's lack of consistency. Okay, I don't want to bring up Ice Cube as it pertains to Slick Rick because Ice Cube has an outstanding catalog. We got to compare somebody with a flatline average catalog through and through to Slick Rick, and I don't know if that works. Let's see.
How about this, Mike?
Who would I?
How about this, Mike? Mike, let's go to Kane. What do you think
Mhm.
the separation between Kane and Slick Rick is? Because Long Live the Kane is definitely not the type of classic that the Greatest Adventures of Slick Rick is. Is
Mm.
that fair?
No, you're right.
Okay.
And Long Live the Cane is great. Classic.
It's not the
But
Greatest Adventures of Slick Rick.
Great Adventures of Slick Rick is one of the greatest hip hop albums ever made. It has three and a possible top 50 hip hop songs all time on it. And it's not many albums
On
you can.
one album.
Yeah.
On one album.
And for the people who don't know what songs I'm talking about, A Children's Story, Mona Lisa, and Hey Young World. And possibly Teenage Love.
Teenage Love.
Yes.
Correct. So I think Kane, who is a big J. Cole fan, would be somebody more fair to compare Cole to. Like, because Cole has Forest Hills Drive, much like Kane has Long Live the Kane. and Kane's been has had a lot of longevity, but still really just has one real classic under his belt. But much like Cole for his generation, is highly respected and revered, has arguably the greatest lyricist of his generation. For Cole, it would be Kendrick. For Kane, it would be Rakim. So that would be the similarities in the comparison. And I would tell all of you who claim to be hip hop heads, how many of you niggas think J. Cole's better than Big Daddy Kane?
And you're right. Kane kind of is the J. Cole in his class, or vice versa.
Correct.
Because LL is the Drake, or Drake's the LL.
Correct.
Yeah.
Who who think who think J. Cole better than Big Daddy Kane? In this hip hop
Stand
head
up.
conversation that we have, and who the hell thinks Forest Hills Drive is better than Long Live the Kane? Since y'all really want to do this, since you really want to do this, what
Chris
the hell
Daugherty.
is J. Cole made? What the hell is J. Cole made this fucking with? Ain't no half stepping, Mike. Ain't no half stepping is better than
I
most
got
niggas'
nothing for you.
careers.
I got nothing for you. I got
What about
nothing.
Raw, Mike? Raw, set it off.
Nope.
Message.
Nah.
Now, Mike, where do we
I know.
typically have Kane now? Kane is somewhere in the 20 to 25 bracket now because of his catalog.
Yeah.
Correct?
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly where J. Cole is, Mike.
Until proven otherwise. So, honestly, man, and again, we're not sitting here trying to be tongue in cheek or shock jocks or whatever. He does need not only just album of the year, but he needs a potential album of the decade.
Now, Mike, I bring up Kane because I say this. Now, let's juxtapose it. Do you find Rakim to be that much better than Big Daddy Kane on the mic lyrically?
Me personally, and you know how I feel about Rakim.
Nah,
I mean,
objectively, Mike, not personally. Objectively.
objectively speaking, when I hear Rakim, I don't think many people are close to him, but I think in his era and in that era, Kane is the closest. For sure.
Now, Mike,
Rakim is, I would say Rakim is Will Kane's Bill Russell in this. And
I think Bill Russell's better than Wilt, but whatever.
I know, exactly. But some people think Kane's better than Rakim. So, I mean.
But, okay, so Mike, but what I'm saying is that when lists and discourse about MCs are being made, what you'll find is that Rakim is still very much in the top 5 and top 10. And
Yeah.
Kane usually finds himself somewhere in the 20s. And do you want to know why that is, everybody?
Yeah.
Mike, paid in full, follow the leader, and let the rhythm hit him. Exactly, Mike. The
That
separation between Rakim and Kane is not skill, it's the albums.
You're right.
Stop acting like these albums don't matter. Because if Kane had albums comparable to Paid in Full, Follow the Leader, and Let the Rhythm Hit Him, Mike, he would be in the top 10 conversation still. The same way Rakim is still in the conversation still. Easily. It wouldn't even be questioned. Because here's the reality of the matter. Even though there's a top 10 list, Mike, I still can't name 10 better guys that can spit better than Big Daddy Kane.
Straight up.
There aren't 10 guys that have ever been created that can outrhyme Big Daddy Kane on a track, Mike.
Straight up.
I'm very, very certain of that.
Yeah, he's incredible.
Like Mike, how about this? I'll tell you something.
And
Mike,
then dance at the same time.
You know what type of MC like Kane really is? Give me Prime Biggie, Jay, and Kane on a track together. I'll take Kane. For one verse, I'll take Kane. Kane gonna out-rap Big and Jay on a verse in his prime.
That would be an incredible collaboration right there, man. That's Brooklyn's finest right there.
Like literally Brooklyn's finest. So don't tell me that this album shit don't matter, Mike, because the reason Kane is back somewhere in the 20s and Rakim is still top 5 is about Rakim's 3 straight classics.
Well, even if you look at Big and Kane, the reason why that is, and because people hold Big super high, as they should, that has to do with the albums too.
Everything to do with the albums and the songs, Mike. Everything.
Chris with the super chat says Cole or Ross catalog.
Big toe for toe, Mike. Don't want to rap with Kane, Mike. Neither do Tupac, Mike.
Chris Daugherty with the super chat says Cole or Ross catalog. Coop, I got Ross. I mean, Ross has a better catalog than Cole.
It's not a conversation, Mike. Ross has a better catalog than most of these guys.
Yeah. Ed with the super chat says Cole Wet Dreams is a how's it going down? Like, and rings out of the arena 10 years later. So, and it rings out of the arena 10 years later. Okay. Wet Dreams is better than How's It Going Down. I disagree with that. I like Wet Dreams. I think it's a dope song. You know, 2014 Forest Hill Drive. Man, Forest Hill Drive is 10 years old now, cool. It'll
Yeah,
be 10
I'm
years old
aware.
in December. Wow.
I'm aware. It's
Wow.
Mike. That song. It's. How about this? Wet Dreams is dope enough that it's arguable. That's more conversational.
It's a dope
Yeah,
record. And it
it
actually
is.
hit the radio and all that stuff too. But I give the
Yeah.
edge to How's It Going Down, the storytelling, the hook. I personally like the one that didn't have Faith Evans on it. But whatever.
Where's
Esquire
I
with
mean,
the
like, how about this? Let's look at the record Neighbors versus something like ATF. You know what I
Come
mean?
on now. Come on now, man. Boom, boom, boom. Knock on the door.
Open the
ATF.
door, ATF.
Listen, man, this nigga had a record like that. He had the conversation on the back end. Nigga had niggas that started something on there. We're not even talking about Rough Riders Anthem. We're not even talking about Damien. We're not talking about Stop Being Greedy. We're not even talking about Get At Me Dog. What are we talking about?
Mike, that album is
What
better
are
than
we
most rappers'
talking about?
careers. The album is better than most rappers' careers, Mike.
The intro,
Intro's
not
crazy.
some X shit, but what's the one that was like, I don't give a fuck about y'all niggas because y'all ain't killing
Fucking
nothing.
with D.
Fucking with
Fucking
D.
with D. Track 3. Yeah. Fucking with
Like,
D. Mike,
it's like,
I still know the numbers on the songs, Mike. Like when you ring these songs off, it's like, oh no, Damien. I'm like, that's track 9.
yep, yep. Not to mention the tag. What's the record like? Track 6.
Look
Not
into my
either. Let me.
eyes.
Yeah, look into my eyes. Yeah, and then either let me
I
fly
told
or
you, Mike, I
give
still know
me
the
death.
sequencing.
Yeah, man. Come on now.
I still know the sequencing to the album, Mike. It's one of the best rap albums ever made.
Period. Esquire with the super chat says the Kane slash Rick analogy is spot on, but apply that to Cole versus X rather than comparing Cole to Kane. Let's stay on topic. If you do, it proves my point.
You don't want to compare Cole to X. That's what I'm
Do you
saying.
want to go song
That's
for
not fair
song?
to Cole.
If he has the longevity, would you want to go song for song? With those 3 albums, this is what we're saying, Esquire. We feel like with those 3X albums, we could beat all 10 of J. Cole's projects.
Mike, I can probably beat him with the first 2.
Andrew
I
Williams
don't
with the
even need
super
the third
chat
album.
says J. Cole and Kendrick fans are delusional. Ed with the super chat says the climb back and false prophets are some of the elite example performances over the past 10 years. Maybe y'all aren't familiar with Cole's body of work. False prophets is dope. The climb back is dope.
The
But
nerve of you to pull up
we
on this
are
show knowing that I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina, and that I've been walking around talking about how I want this man to be number 1, and you think I'm not familiar with the catalog?
we
I'm
gotta
very
give
familiar with the catalog. That's why I'm saying the shit that I'm saying, and I hope he hears it.
I'm sure he does. Mall7 with the super chat says bar for bar, Kane can go toe to toe with anybody on the mic. His records with Cool G Rap proves that he's one of the last MCs that actually changed the way guys rap. That's true too. Bottom line,
Fair.
Esquire with the super chat says the point is not that Cole firmly supplements any of the top tier legends, but it's not absurd to call Cole top 20 MC all time. And considering him for that, he's been elite for at least a decade. Top 3 post 2010.
Esquire, I just said that he is somewhere right where Kane is, somewhere between 20 to 25, with one classic album, can rap with anybody, but the other people that are ahead of him are mostly ahead of him about their album making ability.
Is Drake
Because
ahead of
that's
him?
how it goes.
Since we talk about him being top 3 in this era, so Drake's ahead of him on an all-time list, right? And why?
He's got a better catalog, Mike.
Exactly. That's why. We all know that J. Cole can out-rap Drake. We all know that.
He just did, Mike. He
Yeah,
stunted on him, Mike. He
we
stunted
all
on
know.
him.
I mean, he does that. Oh, let me read Esquire's other super chat one more time because he said we butchered it. We didn't. We need to understand where Esquire's coming from with this. He says the point is not that Cole firmly supplements any of the top tier legends. But it's not absurd to call Cole a top 20 MC, all things considered. He's been elite for at least a decade, top three post 2010. Um, Esquire has another super chat as well. And I agree. I mean, he's done that, but he has to have that one album. He says another analogy G Rap is to Cole what Slick Rick is to DMX in terms of peak versus longevity and consistency. I rank G ahead of Slick Rick personally.
Okay. Um, Cool G Rap has Road to Riches, uh, Wanted Dead or Alive, and Live and Let Die. Those are all stellar albums, Mike. A lot of people consider all three of those albums to be classics, so it's not a fair comparison. So
Esquire
maybe,
also
maybe,
says,
maybe, maybe Esquire need to do his Cool G Rap history.
Esquire says, since when did verses become a measuring stick? I mean, the catalogs have always been a measuring stick, and I don't think verses created that. That's something we've always talked about. Verses just put that on the stage. You know what I mean? Like
It's
these
wild.
debates about who's better, it really comes down to catalog. Why do you think LL Cool J was able to sustain that position in that top 10 and that GOAT talk for so long? Because of his catalog.
This is
He has a
wild.
very strong catalog. Esquire with another
This
super
is
chat.
wild.
Love to love, Esquire. We love the debate as well. He says, I hear you, Coop. But the tone of the discourse makes it seem like y'all think it's crazy to even compare anyone in a 11 to 20 range, which it isn't.
Listen to me very carefully. Yes, it is when your best album is Forest Hills Drive and Redman is somewhere at 17, 18, 19 with a Muddy Waters, There Is a Dark Side, and What the Album in his pocket. It's exactly what I'm saying.
Think about who we're not mentioning in this conversation. And this is somebody that I really love. One of my personal favorites, my favorite rapper growing up. We're not mentioning Method Man. Because he doesn't have those albums that register with the people that we're talking about. He doesn't.
Mike, you know how I
Tikal's
feel
not.
about Prodigy, Mike.
Yeah,
You hear me talking about Prodigy?
yeah. You gotta have those albums. And honestly, with the Mob Deep stuff, Prodigy has more of an argument. But
Straight
we
up.
gotta
But
be
so does Meth with the Wu Tang stuff. So does Meth with the Wu Tang stuff. That's what I'm
right.
saying. Prodigy and Meth got more classic stuff than Cole does.
Esquire with the super chat says Road to Riches, Wanted Dead or Alive, and Live Let Die are great albums, not bona fide classics. And that's why you said some consider them classic.
Okay, so here's how I feel. For me, Wanted Dead or Alive is a classic. The other two are almost classics, but everybody feels differently. Some people feel like Road to Riches is a classic. Some people feel Live and Let Die is a classic. It's arguable, but all I'm saying is that Cool G Rap has 3 albums that are great enough that they deserve classic consideration. So he has
Oh,
3 great albums. Not 6 good albums, Esquire. Not 6 good albums, but 3 albums that can actually deserve classic status depending on who you ask. For me, it's Wanted Dead or Alive. I think that's the best one.
well, I know you got to go, Coop. This has been a great show. I can't wait to hear this Metro and Future album that drops Friday. I know we're going to talk about that next Wednesday. Um,
They better not disappoint.
man, we got an all time producer tournament bracket coming up, and this could be a major one for Metro in many people's eyes, because one of the knocks on Metro that we've done on this show, as it relates to Hit Boy specifically, Metro hasn't really consistently proven that he can make a great album from end to end. And this is an opportunity to do it, because Future knows how to make songs. Now we
It's an
still need the
opportunity for Future
JID
too.
album.
Future, I mean, Future ain't been having the best run either. So this is on some of this on Future too.
They both
It's
need
not
it.
just about Metro. Yeah, they
Yeah,
both need this.
they
They
both
better
need.
not disappoint.
I mean, because by many people's metrics, I think Future's the king of Atlanta, right?
Last 10, 15 years, yeah.
Yeah, I think Ti even said that Future's the king of Atlanta. So
Yeah.
that's a lot coming from
Well,
him.
I mean, the baton goes from T.I. to Future, in my opinion. So
Mm. Mall 7 with the super chat says, I heard a lot of people for years say that 456 was G Rap's best album too, which is a classic.
nah. It's not
Esquire
better than
with,
the first 3.
Esquire with the super chat says, just like some believe that Forest Hill Drive and Born Center are a classic. Depends on who you ask. Not even mentioning the mixtapes. Now people do
That's
believe,
fine. You
yeah.
bought up. You bought up 2 albums. I bought up 3. Nah, 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 nah.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to this album so we could see, what it is. You got 1 second because I do want to speak on this Meek Mill thing real quick. Did you
You
hear
got it.
with the whole Meek Mill academic thing?
Yeah.
What's a lot going on with them? But one of the things that stuck out to me as somebody who's done a podcast for the past 4 years, and we know how it is to put together a show and be consistent with it and build an audience and build, a format of your show. I thought it was very disrespectful to the craft for Meek Mill to sit there and say, I want a podcast deal because I have a lot to say. Now, the entitlement, you think that somebody should offer you a deal just because you have an idea for a podcast, never done a podcast, doesn't have a title of the show, don't have a format, don't have an audience or a proof of concept on any level, and you want a deal. I wish that tweet would have said, you know what? I got a lot to say. I'm going to start a podcast. Y'all tune in. Stay tuned.
First of all, he on Twitter so damn much. He might as well have. You can do a Twitter Spaces, Meek Mill.
Yeah,
Quite frankly, Mike. I mean, you want to know how I really feel?
sure.
You got bigger issues at hand, brother. You might want to handle your business before you
Academic,
start talking about doing a podcast.
I think academics
Got
response
bigger
was
issues on your
perfect.
hands. Look here. You want to talk about somebody's street credibility being taken from them in the blink of an eye? Like, yeah. Like, which has pretty much been the whole ethos of your career is your street credibility. And, to quote Jay-Z, since you want to go back and forth with academics, a wise man told me don't argue with fools.
Yeah,
Because
people
people
from a
from a
distance can't
distance
tell who's who.
can't tell who is who.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like before you go talking about doing a podcast, brother, you might just want to handle your motherfucking business first, respectfully. You know what I'm saying?
Or just do it. Like, why do you need permission from anybody to go out there and do something you say you want to do? And then you put yourself in position where, academic can sit, well, he did sit there and say, you know what? Well, I'll give you $1 million for one season. And we could do a ad split, blah, blah, blah. Now, at that point, you said you wanted a deal. You're not going to get a deal better than that because really you haven't done the work to get a deal better than that. Now, what are you going to say?
Like I said, Mike, you need to
All you
handle
can
this
say is,
business.
you know what? I really didn't want to do a podcast. I was just talking shit.
And also, too, Mike, this is what I mean. You need to handle this business. I mean, people understand when you do a podcast, well, people pull up on you and ask you questions and drill you, kind of like how Esquire just did me. Oh, brother, for what you have going on right now, you do not want to start a podcast and have people pulling up on you asking the questions that you may not have proper answers for just yet. You need to talk
Right.
to your personal assistant. You need to talk to your attorney. You need to get your business affairs in order before you go starting a podcast with the with the nefarious things that are circulating around your name these days.
Well, on
So
that
not
note,
only do I find the comment to be in poor taste, I find it to be in poor timing too. It's like, nigga, are you paying attention to the shit
yeah,
that's floating around about you right now?
yeah,
Hello?
for the work that I
Because
know
like
podcasters out there put in and the time and the effort it takes, man, I just thought that was disrespectful.
that's what I mean. It's in poor taste and poor timing. Like it's in poor
Yeah.
taste because it's disrespectful to us, but it's poor timing for what personally is being said about the man. Because it's like, I was about to make a joke because like the first podcast, they're gonna be like, "So, did you take it?"
Yeah, because people are ruthless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you take that? Take that? How about that? Take that. Take that. Did you take that? Did you take
Well,
that?
on that note, I think our time's up for today.
Oh yeah. Tell them I said it too.
Well, we love y'all. We appreciate the love. Hit like and subscribe. We got a weekly newsletter that we got going around. So the link's actually in the community section. We're building onto that. We're gonna get some playlists going weekly, and you know what I'm saying, and have you guys input on that. Myself, Coop, Ron, will put together some weekly songs that people need to check out. And I think that that's another way of being able to guide music in the way it needs to go. Like I think I for the first week, because it was kind of like a beta run, I threw Jay Ski's "Burner Phone" in there. I think that's a song people need to listen to. You know, "I Am
I
God"
agree,
got a song in there. You know, I think that's a song people need to listen to. Threw Rock Marciano's "Emeralds" in there. You know,
Mike. I am God is starting to blow up, and I love it for him. He
he's the
deserves it.
future man.
He is.
I like him a lot.
He's the now Mike. He's an album of the year contender.
Yeah. See, now those are guys that are pushing this thing forward with fresh new concepts and just straight up lyricism, man. So shout
Yeah.
out to I Am
Shout out.
God, man.
Yeah, salute to I am God. Shout out to the whole Chi-Town rap scene, Mike. We need to go to Chi-Town and check them out. He got me excited about
Right?
going and checking out the whole squad and the whole all the people in Chicago doing wonderful work. You know what I'm saying? We got to
I'm
get to
sure they,
Chi-Town.
I'm sure they be in the lab, man. They got a lot of talent over there. Chicago's always had a lot of talent. I mean,
Yeah,
I feel
I want to
Chicago,
go.
Chicago's hip hop scene is very similar to Atlanta's in that way too, where it's like you got so many. You got a Lil Jon and you got an Outkast. Like Chicago's
That's
like
what I
that.
mean.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I
it's like
love
that.
it. Appreciate you guys. Y'all have a great evening, man, and look forward to hollering at you in a second.
Yeah, yeah.